Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Since I think it's the first time we've used it in a while, music, as always, for our generic openings, supplied by Matt Cheney. Check him out. He's real cool. Beats are chill, but always immaculate. Sometimes the names are funny. Anyway, so we are playing more Wrath of the Righteous, because it is a comfort game for me. So sorry for no FF8, but I wanted to play Pathfinder, a different Pathfinder game, like all morning, and my brain just like didn't make it happen. So we're playing the one that we stream. That's it. Anyway, hey Aka, how you doing? Aka, if you were a Pathfinder character, what would your class and ancestry combo be?
Stay on your toes.
Actually, maybe that should be like our pinned bit here. Yeah, Aka, what would you do? Our character, what are they doing? Why are they so spread out? Hello, Cypher. I do appreciate that this shows that like a team of otherwise like relatively normal people can in fact defeat demons. It's just that demons have like wave after wave. But like these are like Irbeth is a paladin, right? I don't know if all of these guys are supposed to be paladins. So like Irbeth is like a cool, a cool person. But the rest of these guys I think are like ostensibly just fighters or like maybe like low-level paladins. And I'm glad that it shows that like characters would have, or like NPCs that aren't, level 15, grand high paladin master of blah blah blah. Like a Nevi or Irbeth is like a 6th level paladin or an 8th level paladin or something. So anyway, Irbeth is a half-orc. She stands before us wearing armor adorned with Iomede's golden swords. Iomede is the inheritor, Light of the Sword, and Lady of Valor. She is our lawful good goddess of being a paladin. Would it be like if you got isekai'd into Galarian, or would it be your dream self in Pathfinder? I'd say your dream self. I think if we were isekai'd into Galarian, if we didn't have main character, isekai powers, we'd probably be like experts at best, right? Also, can one of you find mods snooze the ad when it gets close to, 0 seconds on yours? Aquatic Sorcerer Undine? Hell yeah. I don't think I could make that as a mercenary in this. I could do my best, though. Is the Aquatic Sorcerer Undine, is that the character that you played in that one campaign for a while? Anyway, Irbeth is clearly exhausted. She obviously hasn't gotten much sleep over the last few days. There's soot on her face and fresh blood on her sword. Her hazel eyes are hard and focused, and her firm voice sounds accustomed to giving orders. She sizes you up, surprised, judging whether you are friend or foe, and opens your mouth to ask you something, but freezes when she spots a Nevia. Look at this! Lesbians, let's go!
By the goddess, Nevi, I'd almost lost all hope.
Everything's fine, Beth. I'm here.
A couple of the
Sarah's
Dark
new
Ones
friend.
games.
She rounded up those of us who survived the fall and led us up to the surface. Without her, we'd never have made it out. Let me introduce you to my wife, Arabeth Tirabade, head of the Eagle Watch.
Yeah. So these two, I love them. I love that we have a half-orc who is not displayed as like just a hulking idiotic rage monster. I love that they are in a happily married sapphic relationship. And Anevia is canonically trans. And her wife is like obviously super supportive. It's actually they have like a side quest related to like their backstory. So anyway, yeah, like these two are like quite possibly my favorite. I like honestly I wish that they were like companions, but they instead are like too important to the machinations of like the like machine behind your adventuring party. So they end up being very supportive NPCs that you don't actually get to control.
Until the army arrives, I'm the temporary warden of Kenabres. And you're just in time. As you can see, we're in the middle of a battle. And thank you for getting Anevia out of there.
Yeah. Just also the Earbeth's voice actress I think does a really good job. Like puts a lot of like soul into the character. Especially in these games, like this game as a double A game, right? We don't have like full motion capture, you know, like lip synced voice acting. So the voice actors like we don't get the benefit of like seeing character expressions, right? We just get like the voice actor's performance and a static portrait. So I think she does a really good job. Where are
The
we?
Grey Garrison. Until recently, it served as barracks for the Crusaders, but it's now been taken over by cultists.
I have important information about the location of a cultist den.
Very good. Report to me in full when we get back to the Defender's Heart. It's our temporary headquarters. Right now, the most dangerous cultists are here. The ones occupying the Grey Garrison.
What's the target of this battle?
When the demons attacked the city, their main target was the Ward Stone. I trust I don't have to explain to you what the Ward Stone is and how important it is to the Crusaders. We must retake it at any cost, or the fall of Kenabres will be the beginning of the end of the Crusades, and with them, the rest of the world.
The Ward Stones are a chain of powerful artifacts keeping the World Wound's expansion at bay. First and greatest in the chain was erected in the city of Kenabres by the hand of the Inheritor himself, a golden-winged angel sent by the goddess Eliomide. For those of you unaware, the World Wound is an ever-present portal or series of portals that connect the Abyss with like essentially Fantasy Earth, right, with Galarian. So demonic corruption will spread if left unchecked. The Ward Stones keep it checked. And also, you know, provide benefits to the cities that, you know, they stand within. So, but yeah, our Wordstone kind of fucked up right now.
I see that you had a difficult journey to the surface. You need to rest. But there's a lot riding on this battle. I have no right to command you, but I'm asking you to help us.
We met some mongrels who live beneath Kenabres. This is land.
Most people in Kenabres think that the children of the First Crusaders are simply a legend. Other people say that the day you emerge on the surface heralds the start of the end of the world. I'm not superstitious, but the situation is apocalyptic, all right. Having a living legend on our side can't hurt.
Come on, living legend? A walking folktale, maybe? I just need to make sure I don't turn into a running joke.
See, this is the part of land that I like, right? Slightly self-deprecating, but not in a way that makes you actually feel bad about the jokes that he's telling. Like keeps a level head, you know, understands his position in the world, and like, you know, is reaching for more, but doesn't like try to, overstate his like existence as a first crusader, a descendant of a first crusader. So anyway, this is the part of land I like. When we talk to him in camp later, or not in camp, but in the like tavern later, he can get a little bit wistful with his dialogue, and basically you just have to be like, hey man, I'm good. So anyway, what's the situation in the city?
The city's gone. Most of the defenders, including the Dragon Terendelev, fell in the first few hours. The civilians either fled or died in the chaos. The place is overrun with cultists and demons.
Oh, actually, this reminds me. I have a side story that this game I have the DLC that unlocks like this side story of some like significantly less cosmically important characters that are like normal people that are trying to like survive this whole escapade. It has some kind of unique mechanics and specifically lower powered characters. You don't have mythic power stuff. I think they level up slower. You have fewer stat points at character creation. Like I remember playing through the early part of it and being really, really excited when I had like a real sword and my character wasn't using like a rusty dagger or like a prop crossbow. If the Pathfinder streams are something that you guys like enough, we could kind of interrupt this to play that in a little bit, and completing that gets us a like benefit in like a main playthrough. I don't remember when the cutoff point is, but I know that we can play through most, if not all, of Act 1 without it being an impact, I believe. So.
Don't talk like that. Kenabres hasn't fallen. Not while it still has defenders like you and me.
Sweet words don't change the grim truth.
No, she's right. Thank you, Knight. Until we no longer have the strength to hold a weapon, until Iomedae abandons us, we will fight for Kenabres.
Also, we're seeing already early parts of Irabeth's personal story here, where Irabeth, despite being like one of the city's, and then later on the Crusades, like top people, she has this problem where she can like kind of she's more heavily impacted by like despair than you would hope for a like otherwise staunch and upright knight crusader person. Tell me about the Ward Stone. Why is it so important?
The Ward Stones are a gift of Iomedae, created personally by her herald, a mighty angel and a general of the celestial armies. The Ward Stones keep the World Wound from expanding. They stand along the border of the territory controlled by the demons, creating a barrier to keep them inside. The Kenabres obelisk was the first to be placed. It is the key to the whole barrier. We cannot leave it in the hands of those monsters from the abyss.
How did the Ward Stone end up in the Great Garrison?
The demons have long laid siege to Kenabres, but this time, their lord Dascari appeared in the flesh. He ripped the Ward Stone from the ground and hurled it halfway across the city to here. I thought the stone was destroyed, but it seems all is not lost, yet. Dascari has gone, but the Ward Stone is surrounded by a horde of those creatures. What are they going to do to it? Nothing good, that's for certain.
But how did he do that? He's a demon! The Ward Stone should have burned his filthy hide!
It should have. But what happened, happened. We don't know why.
Let's not waste any time. To battle!
That's the spirit. You, take Kenabres to the rear. The rest of you with me.
I love his little grumbles. You hear labored breathing interspersed with disgruntled muttering. Forgus is holding his rapier hilt in a white-knuckled grip. A bead of sweat trickles down from his temple.
Lord Horgus Worm, forgive me. I did not realize we had civilians among us. My people will escort you somewhere safe. To the extent that anywhere in Kenabres can be said to be safe right now.
That's right. Fighting spirit is the one thing that we've got plenty of. Actual fighting power, that's not so great. Fighting know-how, even worse. But fighting spirit, at least we're rich in that.
Lan plexes his bowstring to test the tension in it and lowers his voice to say that second part.
For Iomedae! For the Queen! Kill the beast!
Erebeth raises her blade, and the soldiers, inspired by her cry, rush into battle with renewed vigor. Queen Galfrey is the absolute monarch of the Crusader state of Mendev and the leader of the Mendevian Crusades. While today the name of the Crusader Queen is known throughout the Inner Sea region, it's easy to forget that Galfrey did not start her rule of Mendev as a paladin of Iomedae, but rather of Eridan. When the world wound opened and forever changed Mendev, Galfrey was still an untested young ruler who was forced to deal with the death of her god while simultaneously rallying her nation against the abyssal threat to the west. Okay, so yes, the Crusades are like less than 100 years old, or maybe just around 100 years old. But this world, the Galarian, takes place in a setting where the like god of humanity and like prophecies died like 100 to 150 years ago. Something like that. She rose to the challenge, and her leadership was instrumental over the next several years, not only in protecting Mendev from demonic invasions, but also in holding the border against the Worldwound. When the Church of Iomedae organized the First Crusade, it joined forces with Mendev to push back the demon armies. During these battles, Galfrey time and time again distinguished herself with a keen grasp of tactics and skill at leadership. But this inspiration went both ways. In the Church of Iomedae, Galfrey found something to replace her lost faith. By the time the First Crusade ended with the apparent defeat of the demon armies, Galfrey had converted and become a worshipper of Iomedae, and had completely retrained herself as one of the Inheritor's most devout paladins. Eager to retain such a valuable leader at the head of the Crusades, the Church of Iomedae twice purchased and presented to the Queen the rare and expensive Sun Orchid Elixir, which extends mortal life beyond its usual span. Thanks to this boon, the Queen has lived and led the Crusades for more than a century. Masterwork Bardishes. I believe we will come back here. Yeah, okay. So, if a door is closed, we can't get at it.
Time to rob them of their treasures.
Okay. So, can you charge either of these guys? The answer is no, apparently. Now can you charge him? Sure.
I'll cut you wide open.
Alright, sure. Okay. So we are going to do a cheeky quick save here and okay, apprentice lockpick.
Ah, not this time. This one was beyond me. I am helpful, am I not?
All right, we'll take it. Bunch of random stuff down here. Here's another large set piece fight. I want you to know that the you're one of these cultists? How's it going, pal? Want to join? Your lot will all be dead soon, but we'll be alive. I can't. Come on, leave these losers. Crusades are over. Soon the demons will rule the whole world. Kind of looks around. Here goes nothing. I'll help Baphomet. Cowardly traitor, I swear on the sword of Iomade, you will answer for your betrayal.
Save the last one for me.
But yeah, the like identity of the recruit is random, right?
Cover me. This is your chance to run.
Oh, I'm in rough shape here. What did I get hit with? Get owned, idiot. Okay. We're going to continue to carry all of the loot forever because there's no consequences early on to not just carrying significantly more than anybody can carry. That quickly stopped being true, but right now, there's nothing stopping us. So, copy to spellbook. But Irabeth and her boys probably don't really need our help here. We're mostly just trying to carry our own weight. Also, look at this conveniently shaped outline here. I wonder what's going to happen to the floor. What's up, wife? Okay, I love you.
Good night, stream, chat, words.
I think right now chat's pretty small. It's probably just Akka and Cypher. Yes?
What's this? Do we have guests? Just in time. The place is a bit of a mess, and I haven't even poured the blood into the goblets yet. Why don't you
might still forget.
Oh.
I mean, most of the time I'm using my phone to light the way, so.
For those in the game keep originally, they're like just help with stuff with each other.
I appreciate it. Alright. So this is Minago. She is our like primary antagonist for. She's like our reach goal antagonist in Act 1. Act 2, I believe she is still our main antagonist. I don't know if she's. I think she's pretty soundly defeated by that point. Because Act 2 is us getting to Dresden and reclaiming it. And to do that, we have to kind of kick her ass. So, but yeah, she's like a recurring antagonist in this game. We're gonna be seeing a lot of her. So.
What an unexpected surprise. Staunton, my little sweetheart. Long time no see. I've missed you so much. Have you missed me? Admit it. You missed me terribly.
Also, she has a history with Staunton.
Minago. You again, you wench!
He is an aged dwarf in Earbeth's troop. He has been silent up till now. He has a hardened, craggy face, like storm-weathered stone. And, he's having a rough time.
Minago, the one who... Be careful. She's one of the deadliest creatures in the whole demon horde. She was once responsible for a massacre in Kenabres. She must be back to finish what she started.
Minago, she's a powerful Lily too, which I think is the new name for succubus? ? Not sure. One of the demons whose names in Mendev are always spoken with a curse. She's the author of 2 of the most horrific atrocities in the history of the Crusades: the Fall of Dresden and the Red Morning Massacre of Kenabres. So she once entered Kenabres magically disguised as a refugee. Once inside the town's walls, she revealed her true form and slaughtered dozens of citizens before vanishing in a cloud of greasy black smoke. After this Red Morning Massacre, Kenabres refused entrance to any except those who could demonstrate direst need. Individuals who fell under suspicion were turned away or executed on the spot. Kenabres became known as a safe but suspicious city. By the time of the Second Crusade, the leaders of Kenabres agreed to house one of the ward stones to guard against the hordes pouring from the World Wound. This act assured Kenabres' role as a strategically vital city, key to the defense of Mendev. I feel like this is an acceptable level of chaos. Hey, demon woman, what's wrong with your face?
Oh, how rude. You're one to talk, mortal, with a face that even a mother would loathe. Staunton, sweetie. You're not going to let your friends speak to me like that, are you?
That wench? She's the one who led me astray. She's the reason my life has gone to the abyss. She's the reason why Dresden fell.
It was a city fortress during the hubris of the First Crusade. It was overtaken by the demonic hordes of the World Wound. It now stands as a demonic monument to the foolish naivety of those early crusaders.
Oh my, like butter wouldn't melt. What I remember is how eagerly you would run to our trysts. How you
if it is unclear, Minago was disguised when she was seducing Staunton.
You said this, and now you claim that Dresden fell because of me. No, my dear, that was entirely your own doing.
I'll beat your lying lips into your filthy throat!
Now, Staunton, don't say things like that. Not about these lips, the ones you kissed so sweetly. Staunton, dearest, don't you love me anymore? Remember how good we were together? I was so hoping that we could patch things up.
I'll kill you!
Yet another obstacle.
so Minago is not in. Oh, I forgot to heal. We're gonna have a bad time. Let's huck it at that guy. Well, that could have gone better. Okay, who is still in this fight? Sela's right here, Camelia's here, you're right here. Okay. Alright, squad. Let's defeat this wave of guys. Okay. Can you heal me? Okay. You are out of those. Why don't you pop a quick potion? That should keep us in the fight for a bit longer. I forget that we have ridiculous mobility. Alright. So we hop over the gap. And we see these assholes doing something to the ward stone. As soon as you step into the chamber, your vision seems to darken and your knees buckle. You struggle to keep your balance. The air in here is laden with the power coming from the stone. Suddenly, your head is filled with voices. Screaming, whispering, cackling, threatening. Voices pleading for help, shrieking curses and taunts. You blink and the illusion passes.
Congratulations. You made it all the way here. This is it. Your precious ward stone. But what are you planning to do now, I could kill you where you stand. But wouldn't it be nice if you could die in battle like heroes? No. I want you to die in despair, scrabbling around like rats in the blighted ruins of your city, blind and broken, your flesh scabbed and seeping, and every moment knowing precisely what was done to you.
That sounds, unpleasant.
Sounds terrifying. Except that's how we've been living for generations.
There isn't a soul that can resist the temptations of the abyss. Even a stone can be turned. I'm not joking. Your precious ward stone, weakened from the injury inflicted by Discari, has almost succumbed to my charms. Soon the whole barrier around the world wound, the gift of your useless goddess, will be a weapon of the abyss. Just a little more and boom. Every city with one of these eyesores stuck in the middle of it, from Kenabres to Nerosian, will turn into smoking craters, and all the mortals into red sludge beneath our hooves.
That sounds bad.
So you have a choice. Especially you, my pet. Kiss me on my dainty hoof. Pledge your loyalty to Baphomet. And when the world falls, its ruin shall be yours.
Who are you?
You've already forgotten me. You have awfully short memories, even shorter than your little lives. Staunton, sweetums, don't you want to introduce me to your friends properly? No? Well, I'd better do it myself. I am Minago, Lily II and faithful servant of Baphomet, and leader of his armies. The city is mine now. I'm just starting to settle in, get things just how I like them. But once I'm finished, I promise you, the results will be simply to die for.
Okay, Lily 2 are in fact separate from succubi. They are here we go. They're subversive and hidden horrors, demons who work subtly in their constant quest to destroy and devastate. Lily 2s enjoy few things more than leading mortals into all manner of sinful acts in the hope that when the mortal perishes, their soul will fuel the abyss. The exact nature of sin that a Lily 2 tempts a mortal into committing varies, for these demons are adept at reading mortal desires and secrets, quickly discerning which sins a specific target can be convinced to perform. Lily 2s possess a hideous ability. They can turn their victims into husks, immobile and desiccated bodies that do not actually die, but preserve their life and consciousness. Lily 2 can assume the form of their husks, stealing their face and appearance, and treating their poor victims like a living wardrobe.
And it was such a charming little place until you sullied it with your presence. It had such lovely boulevards, quiet and shaded. You took those away from me. And I shan't forgive you for that.
They've done much worse things than spoil the promenades. All the people they've killed.
Yes, of course, you're right. I grieve for the common folk as well.
You feel righteous fury swell within you. How dare this demon besmirch the ground of this beautiful world with her hooves, a world created by the gods and cultivated by mortals. And these cultists, how dare they betray all that is sacred in this world and join the forces of the foulest evil? Can they repent and redeem themselves, or have they followed the path of evil past the point of no return? The wardstone seems to sense your thoughts. The chamber grows slightly brighter. What are you doing to the stone?
Quite what am I doing to it? Probably the same thing I did to many of your comrades. Sweetly and tenderly persuading it to abandon the mortals and join our side.
Prepare to fight to the death, demon! We won't let that happen.
Feel a sudden rush of wild rage, and with it comes a feeling of monstrous, unbridled, destructive power. It is like the power you felt in the shield maze when you were confronting Savamelech, but now it feels more fully fledged, more conscious. Alright, I think if we choose one more option, I think if we choose this, it just... Oh well, we're gonna reveal the light of heaven and tell this lady to fuck right off. Your victory celebrations are a little premature, demon. Echoing the holy flame erupting from your hand, the light also gets brighter and brighter until it floods the chamber. You hear the voices again. Stronger now, they repeat your words like a choir of angels.
Hey, no eyes. Didn't you tell us that heaven had turned its back on us and no one would come to our aid?
The demon giggles, but you hear a note of astonishment in her laughter. A man standing among the cultists turns to her. Don't listen to her! The fiend wants us all to lose hope. She won't succeed.
I'm done with this shit! I only followed this hoofed menace because I thought the Crusaders had it, and there was no other way to protect my family. But now I see that there is hope. I won't bow before these heinous idols ever again. If they kill me, at least I'll die a decent death.
Yeah, so just as they can persuade just as they can persuade foot soldiers from their side onto ours, or from our side onto theirs, we can do the same with them.
Yes! Return to our side, friends! Have courage! We will welcome you back. And heaven never abandoned you, no matter what this deceiver told you.
Turncoat, I'll cut out your heart.
We'll see how tough you really are. We let you frighten us once, but it won't happen again.
They dare threaten me?
So yeah, we have turned the tide from 6 of them against us to 4 of them, and we gained 2 more. Minago is here in this fight. She is way too powerful for us to be able to fight her. She, not only is she a normal, like, Lily 2, which are level 17 outsiders, she's also a level 11 witch, because she is a, like, unique, you know, a unique monster character. So she's about ready to fuck our shit up. Yeah. So we avoided that, thankfully. Yeah.
I'm tired of
Then she hits us with the fireball, and there's nothing we can do about it.
What will happen when I'm done with the ward stone? Here's a little demonstration.
The demoness whispers a spell, and a wave of darkness sweeps through the chamber. Our companions wince in pain, but it is nothing compared to what we feel. Thousands of voices once again burst into our mind, drowning us in their moans, screams, and sobs. Pain rocks through our skull. Your evil spells won't stop a righteous army.
Iomade is with us!
Yes, yes. Keep telling yourself that.
Iomade is literally with us, though. She's like, she's a homie like that. The roar of voices blends into an unbearable wail of screaming. Our vision goes dark. So anyway, that's the prologue. We did it. We beat the prologue. Only like 6 more acts to go, 7 more acts to go. Man, I sincerely hope that this stream is not like somehow broken. With performance mode turned on, I am constantly terrified that the stream is just not functioning. Hold on. I have to be paranoid for a sec. Okay. We're good. Apologies for the interruption. Okay. What happened?
We couldn't stand up to the demoness. Her spells were too strong. It's all right. We'll handle it somehow. You blacked out, but Staunton and I managed to get you here to the Defender's Heart. It used to be a tavern, but now it's our headquarters. We're gathering our forces here, and we're preparing to strike back.
Oh yeah, I found a cultist dispatch in the dungeon. Seems they're holed up in the Tower of Astrod.
Demons have been filling Kenabres with their spies and infiltrators for a long time. Unfortunately, I don't have enough people to attack the place right now. At least not blindly. I'd be grateful if you snuck in there and scouted out the situation. But just scouting. Don't be a hero.
I'm gonna be a hero. What's the situation in the city?
Bad, but not hopeless. We're constantly getting news, and new sources of resistance keep springing up in the districts where everyone seemed to be dead. The survivors are gathering here. You should see them. Their faces, their eyes burning with determination. The city is destroyed, but our resistance is not broken. We will keep fighting.
What do you plan to do next?
You heard what the demon said. They're going to desecrate the Wardstone and blow up the whole barrier around the World Wound. That would be an even worse disaster than the World Wound's expansion before the Second Crusade. Not only Kenabres, but every city with a Wardstone will be destroyed, including the capital. We can't allow that no matter what. We will retake it, even destroy it if we must. Iomede's gift must not become a weapon of the Abyss.
Why is this wardstone so important?
The Ward Stones are a gift of Iomede, created personally by her herald, a mighty angel and a general of the Celestial armies. The Ward Stones keep the world wound from expanding. They stand along the border of the territory controlled by the demons, creating a barrier to keep them inside. The Kenabres obelisk was the first to be placed. It is the key to the whole barrier. We cannot leave it in the hands of those monsters from the Abyss.
Can I help you in any way?
First of all, we need to decide what to do with the stone once we get it. What I'm about to say is classified. A traveler came to the city recently. A blind elf calling himself the Storyteller. He insisted he be allowed to examine the Ward Stone, and he raised the alarm when his study was finished. Even before the demon attack, he had found some damage or flaw in the stone. Prelate Hulrune dismissed his words as nonsense.
Yeah, Hulrune is like...
But between you and me, the prelate's
bad
opinion
news.
isn't worth much. I think the Storyteller knew what he was talking about. We could use his advice right now, if only we knew where he was. I remember the Storyteller spent a lot of time talking to Staunton, a dwarf from my unit. You saw him during the demon attack. The elf asked him about the history of the Crusades. Maybe the Storyteller told Staunton something about where we could find him if anything happened.
The Storyteller, I believe, does also appear in the like party scene at the very, very beginning of the game. So he also has a less prominent role in Kingmaker. Hulrune. Alright, so he is the famed prelate. He first gained trust and admiration of Kenabres' people by organizing inquisitions against suspected demon worshippers and witches. His force of elite witch hunters exposed dozens of cultists and spies, and it is said executed many more under suspicion but with no real proof. These events started the Third Crusade, widely accepted as the least effective and most self-destructive of the 4 Crusades. Still, he evoked respect and admiration of the populace, as well as fear, and agreed to guide the city as its prelate.
There's another problem.
I don't know what a
After the
prelate is,
attack,
actually.
The demons began to gather their forces at the Grey Garrison.
We're gonna wait for her to...
It'll be even harder to take them with a head-on assault.
Where's... This is none of the point where Brownie goes, oh, this is what a blah 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 is. But unfortunately, she's not here to tell me what's what.
While you explore the city, please keep your eyes open, in case you find something we can use.
So we gotta find the secret entrance.
And one last thing. The Eagle Watch has lost a lot of soldiers recently. Some were killed, but others simply haven't been seen since the attack. In the chaos that is now Kenabres, it's next to impossible to confirm anything for sure. One of the missing fighters is Janna Aldori, a new recruit in the Watch. She got along well with Sela, and she often went drinking with her. I honestly thought Sela and Janna had died together. But now Sela's returned with you, and there's no sign of Janna. If you learn anything of her whereabouts when you're out in the city, please report back.
Everything is clear.
May the goddess help you. We're still fighting, which means that Kenabres still hasn't fallen. If you come across any groups in the city that can fight, send them here to the Defender's Heart. We'll need every fighter we can muster for the final assault. Yes,
You got it, lady.
If you're in the area, check out this address. It's our house, mine and Inevia's. Well, it was our house. If the building is still standing, open the hidden compartment in the kitchen. It's filled with supplies for a rainy day. You can take whatever you find. You have more need of it.
Personal chest. Bunch of DLC items. They're not absurd, so we're gonna accept them. So These are Cavalier's Gloves, +1 morale bonus on attack rolls. In addition, they grant a +2 bonus on damage rolls while mounted. I don't believe that it impacts any of our characters. It is a morale bonus. I don't know if characters have morale bonuses or not. These are Righteous Exorcists bracers. They get a +1 morale bonus on damage rolls against demons. That's helpful for somebody, not us, because it would replace our lucky bracers. Rat Catcher's Goggles, +2 bonus on damage rolls against swarms. We are going to equip that because we are not showing these glasses, though. I don't want us to be wearing weird sunglasses. What is this? +5 bonus to max hit points. Oh, hell yeah, we need that. Unfortunately, we can't wear a hat with long hair. It covers up our hair. So we will also be turning off our hat. If we were to turn both of those on, check us out. Truly the most dangerous witch in the Wild Wild West. Hello, Boo! Thank you so much. 3-stream streak. Oh, boy! How you doing, Boo? We just made it out of the prologue. I wish that these glasses looked cooler. Or otherwise, like, went more with our outfit. But alas. Alright, so +1 to attack rolls and +1 damage rolls against demons specifically. Who needs a bonus against attack on attack rolls more? You're good, Eepy. Honestly, I feel like Lan might appreciate these, specifically because he morale from Bless. Okay, so it won't stack with Bless. But Bless will wear off in a minute and a half, and he will get to keep that +8 bonus instead of having it downgrade to +7. Although on the other hand, +7, hers would be +7, hers would be +7. Nah, we won't worry about it. We'll do this because I don't think she normally wears bracers, so that's a pretty easy option here. Let's see. I think a bunch of this gear is just masterwork stuff. This is masterwork short sword as opposed to a not masterwork short sword. Coverage of 1 damage difference, but this is more accurate, so we're going to stick with the masterwork. Okay. So... Oh, that's right. We also get this boy. +1 morale bonus on knowledge stuff. We'll do that. I think I might be our knowledge character. That might be our knowing stuff. I'm not, actually. I know Arcana, but not other things. I'm our Arcana person. Arcana, I think, is still the most important to have, though, because it lets you... yeah, it lets you identify magic items when you're out and about. So... Okay. We can now sell both of those books. We can sell Hostella's orders. Okay. So, step 1 is going into our personal chest, putting this armor in there because we don't need it now, but it's helpful to have. Cold iron, we're going to set that aside because that's also important. Composite longbow, hold on. I think we can hand that to our boy Lan and have him start doing better damage. The damage boost of that is worth the lack of masterwork. Even though I think in older versions of D&D, composite stuff had to be masterwork, but maybe I'm wrong. Short sword, masterwork short sword. We're gonna hold on to that for just a hot second. I don't think any of this stuff is masterwork. Yeah, so we don't have to worry about any of that. Can I like split this somehow? I can split this. Yes. One composite longbow for keepsies. Butch daggers, heavy crossbow, light crossbow, long spear, masterwork stuff. Masterwork. If I remember correctly, you should have the magic. Okay, yeah. Marching Terror is like absurdly good early game. It deals bonus damage the first time it hits somebody, and when it hits that person, it also forces a will save, which causes a bunch of them to like run away. So Marching Terror is like really good early game. We're gonna need, I think, unfortunately, Sela is the only person in our party that can make use of it. And she's our like frontline person, so she's not an ideal candidate for it, but we are going to hold on to it for now. When we have a full party and can maybe have Sela not take an explicitly tank role, we might switch her to it. But her not using a shield does drop her AC by 3, which sucks a lot, so... Marching Tower is great, especially on your main character, if your main character can use glaives. If you can effectively make use of glaives, then Marching Tower is great, because in the first dungeon you get the book that when you read it gives you like a bonus to using glaives. Yeah, it's let's see. Is it under traits? No. So here we go. Gives you +1 bonus to attack and damage with a glaive, which is great. Like early game, you just get +1 to attack and damage on a thing, and it's like, and then on top of that, it's on a plus, like you get the +1 glaive. It's so good. But anyway, hi Brownie. Oh, perfect, Brownie. I was just remarking earlier that I don't know what a prelate is. And normally when I go, what's this term for real world stuff? You're the one who pops in and goes, hey, this is the term, like this is what the term means. So this is me asking, do you happen to know what a prelate is? I believe we can sell all of this junk. So the question is, do we level up now, or do I hire a mercenary and save a little bit of money? I think I'm not gonna hire mercenaries right now. Term for a personal with ecclesiastical authority. So like for example, if you had one of those like old-timey European towns that was technically not a town, it was like a church parish or something, would a prelate be like the person who ran the church, not a town? It's a general term. Okay. A bishop in Catholicism or an elder in Presbyterianism. Gotcha. All right. Precise shot means that our spells won't miss anymore for like random BS. Improved precise shot allows us to ignore concealment and cover. Or a high priest of orthodoxy. Gotcha. Ambuscading spell. Oh, that's kind of cool. But no, we need precise shot. All right. So witches get a bunch of weird spells. Let's see. Winter's Grasp. All creatures within a 20-foot burst. Icy Ground is treated as difficult terrain when spells cast every round after that. Creatures in the area must make a successful reflex save or fall prone. Creatures in the area also take cold damage and suffer a -2 penalty on saving throws against spells with a cold descriptor until they leave the area. That's pretty gnarly, I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty sick. Oh man, what if you combined that with web? So like web forces them to get stuck, right? And it's it's typically a pretty big area. One who holds power within the structure of one of the organizations of Christianity. Gotcha. Pernicious poison. -4 penalty on saves against poisons, and attempts to cure them take a -4 penalty. That's brutal. I don't know if that's very helpful for me as a character, but Fester. Haunting Mists. Damn, there's some like wild spells that you take here. Delay poison is helpful. Lets you, especially if you cast it ahead of time, when you know that you're going to be running into things like that. Pretty gnarly. Molten Orb. Deals 2d6 points of fire damage. Every creature within 5 feet of where the ball hits takes splash damage. And then everybody takes more damage over time. Mortal Terror. You imbue the target with an exaggerated sense of its own mortality and a drive for self-preservation. The target is shaken, and the first time each round that they take damage, they must succeed on another will save, or its fear level increases by 1 step. If they fail a saving throw against this effect while frightened, it is transfixed in terror and is unconscious for the remainder of the spell's duration. If they succeed at an initial will save, they are shaken for 1 round, but their fear level cannot be further increased by the spell's effects. Sickened and -4 Dex. Haunting Mists. Attacks made in the mist or against anything in the mist must contend with a total concealment. All creatures within the mist must save or take wisdom damage. Ooh. Oh, it's not damage over time, though. It's just wisdom damage 1 time. See, a lot of these are, like, cool, but I don't know if they're good, you know? Scare. It's a fear effect. See invisibility. Like, I'm almost tempted just to take see invisibility and delay poison or something. Because there's like fights later on where like both of those are like very, very helpful to have. Bone Shaker is also good. Because it just scales infinitely. Not infinitely, but you know what I mean. It's 3d6 damage plus additional damage as you level up. Including right now. I'm level 3, so I get it. So it's 4d6 damage out the gate. That's pretty good. You did so many things today. I did not do as much as I wanted. I did both more and less than I wanted. I was not able to get my car to the shop because I couldn't. My executive function just did not make it happen. And I also didn't cook dinner. But I did successfully feed myself 3 times. One of which was me making lunch. And I did a ton of overdue LARP laundry. I'm like... And even then, I'm still only like halfway through it. It's crazy. There's so much laundry. What'd you get up to, though? How much did you get done? I get 2 of these. Glitter dust is also good. Glitter dust is honestly like potentially better than basic sea invisibility, because glitter dust lets you lets you tag more than 1 people. Bring it. So the problem, Brownie, I considered bringing it there this last weekend, but the problem is that it would have to spend all day in a hot car, and I'm afraid that that would like cause damage to the clothes. You know what I mean? You know what? I like the Winter's Grasp web combo. I think that's gonna be our combo here. We'll let other people deal with the other stuff. Web and Winter's Grasp. And apparently we gain Cure Light Wounds. Did a bunch of bills and paperwork, scheduled social stuff for the next couple of weeks, put away laundry and change your sheets, did a couple errands on campus, went to therapy, then the bank, then made dinner. Holy, I'm tired of reading that list, Brownie. Holy shit. Turns out the corset really works. That's awesome. It's unfortunate that that's what you need to do to make it happen, but it's great that it's working. Okay, let's sell this nonsense here. Masterwork dagger. Oh, that's the other thing. Take that off. Go here. Go here. Put that there. We can actually stack these because we can just go to here. You have a basic longbow. We don't need that. We need you to have a composite longbow for the bonus damage, because now you deal an extra 3 damage. Corsets are cheaper than meds in the long run. Yes, they are. And considering Walgreens is apparently having trouble, might be better, might be more viable in the long run too. Masterwork longbow. See, Masterwork longbow is great if you have a character that does not have strength, right? But anyway, Lan, you level up. You're gonna get Deadly Aim, which, if I remember correctly, is just power attack for range. Yep. Point Blank Master. You do not provoke attacks of opportunity while firing the selected weapon while threatened. So just lets him shoot people like 1 foot away. She's got dodge as her feat. It's a prerequisite for a bunch of stuff. Also gives her just +1 dex or +1 AC, which is helpful. She has 10 million new spells. Because unlike me, she does not choose her spells from a spell book. She just has access to all of them. She picks up heavy armor focus, which increases her AC by another one. Oh boy. What else? Do you have anything in your inventory that we don't care about? Answer is no. Although what you do need is in your spell book. You need to make sure that you don't. So bow strength is your spirit magic slot. You have to choose that. Bone Fists is really cool. You gain +1 bonus to natural armor, +2 bonus on damage rolls with natural weapons, and they deal bonus damage on successful grapples. It's really cool for very specific builds. Sickening Entanglement, if I remember correctly, is yeah. It's just entangle, but also gives them like a status penalty. But again, really good to combine that with something like, say, Winter's Grasp, which prevents, it's like, oh, you're having trouble getting out of stuff, and also being in this zone hurts you. Communal protection from alignment is helpful. I truly do not know what would be good here. Delay poison, maybe? Just that way somebody has it. I know that there's creatures that deal with poisons, and it sucks a lot to encounter them. Protection from alignment is helpful. Gives us various bonuses, but also prevents... there's an encounter somewhere around here in the city that it's like there's just a succubus for like no fucking reason. And it really sucks when your team gets like charmed and starts killing each other. So you use that, and she tries to mind control you, and you're like, haha, not today, sucker. Hey, wait, mind if I bend your ear about something? Anevia's outside your door, leaning casually against a shelf. She's a leaner. Here's the first and most important thing. Beth gave you a crucial mission. I get that, and I know you'll get the job done. I saw you in action. But here's the rub. By sending you out on an errand, we're weakening our defenses here. If they come at us while you're gone, I don't know if we'll be able to fight them off. Everything seems clear so far. What else do you wish to... do you want me to stay here and guard the tavern? You what? No, your task is far too important. You can't just hole up here all cozy-like, waiting for the demons to knock on the door. We need to take the fight to them. But if those freaks try to make a move on this place, Beth will send a runner to get you. If that happens, you leg it back here, alright? Because if you don't, you'll be coming back to an ash pile. Got it? When do you think the demons will attack next? Your guess is as good as mine. Might not be here. They could attack the whole damn city. Those vermin know they've lost the upper hand and that we're going to push back hard. If things kick off here, you should know. After they attack, something could be changed beyond recognition. If you've got any business that needs taken care of, you'd better do it soon. Everything seems clear so far. What else do you want to discuss? So, the rift that damned beetle left with its scythe? Yeah, well, it cut the city into two, and it's kind of difficult to get across. My scouts tell me there's a halfway decent place to set up a crossing in Market Square. Not that any of them tried to make it sure. Tried it to make sure. But if you've got a mind to go across, and I think you're going to have to eventually, you might want to give the square a once-over. In fact, succubus for yes fucking reason. Thanks for the warning. See you later. We're gonna talk to Staunton. The dwarf resembles an abandoned citadel, one whose high, crumbling walls are still holding fast, but whose empty, lightless windows make it clear that all inside is dead. Oh, it's you. Good work back there in the Great Garrison. Name's Staunton's Vane. If you've heard rumors about me... Oh, hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh my goodness. Excuse me, sorry about that. If you've heard rumors about me, his face, which looks like it's never known anything as carefree as a smile, grimaces. Just so you know, everything people say about me, it's true. What do people say about you? They say I'm a traitor, as bad as a Rilu Vorlash, that I'm a disgrace even among the ranks of the condemned, that Queen Galfrey should never have spared me, that I belong on the gallows. So you were in a Pathfinder campaign a while back. Your monk had a feat where if you failed a knowing check, you got a mix of good and bad info instead of nothing. Failed a check on Succubi and declared that she got all of her intel from trashy novels. Incredible. I need to talk to the elf who calls himself the storyteller. Do you know where I can find... Oh, you know what? Why do they hate you so much? Okay, so here, Aurelie Vorlash. She is a witch from Old Sarkoris who initiated the opening of the World Wound and later its expansion. Almost nothing is known about her life before the atrocity except that she was condemned for using arcane magic, which was persecuted in Sarkoris. She was then imprisoned in the Tower of Threshold near the city of Iz. This is where Rilu Vorlash conducted the ritual that paved the way for the demonic invasion and left her land to be tormented by the demon lord Discari. By some mysterious means, she transformed herself, changing from an ordinary human into a half-demon. Over the following century, Crusaders encountered Rilu Vorlash or the results of her experiments a few times, but they learned nothing more of Discari's henchwoman. She holds a high position in the ranks of the Army of the Abyss and bears the title of Architect of the World Wound. The Condemned is a military unit made up of petty criminals conscripted as disposable soldiers and frontline fodder in the Mendevian Crusades. Clearly, they are more than a little authoritarian with it. Crashed into that succubus with the wrong idea about how it was going to go and lost some life force for it. Yeah. It's kind of interesting. Characters in this game, at least early on, level up pretty quickly. So, like, we're already level 3, right? We've gone on... I don't know, like, you could argue that we've been on 2 adventures, but I would say we've been on 1 adventure, right? Fell below the city, the adventure was getting out, and it was just kind of multi-parts. So, like, you start fighting succubi pretty early in this game. And part of it is because you end up with like a decent amount of gear that you wouldn't otherwise have in like a tabletop game. You also end up with 6-character party, and special powers for being the special person of destiny. But I don't even know if you have those special powers before the end of Act 1. So, Succubus did open with trying to kiss her, which is what she expected. And then Queen Galfrey, we already looked into her. She's the paladin of Iomade, who's also in charge of Mendev and therefore the Crusades, and has been living for a long time and perhaps has a long story to tell. All right, so why do they hate you so much? You really don't know? Gives you a long, morose look than sighs. I'm the reason why the Crusade forces are holed up in fortresses on the edge of the World Wound instead of bringing the fight to the demons. We used to have a foothold in the Wound, the mighty, unassailable city of Dresden. We used to have it until it fell, all because of my stupidity. I gave the enemy our main citadel. I was tried. They wanted to execute me, and rightly so, but the Queen intervened. She said that I should live and fight in order to undo what I had done. So that's how I live. Decade after decade, fighting in the Condemned. He shrugs. As you can see, I've fixed nothing, and I've earned no one's forgiveness. Are you going to spit in my face, too? It wouldn't surprise me. Alright. I don't know if Safer is here right now. Do we choose Chaos and tell him to live his life? Do we choose to tell him to earn forgiveness? Do we say it's not our place to judge? We're not spitting in his face. Not our place to judge him. We're not gonna choose a an alignment point here. Fair enough. Not my place to judge you. Who knows what I would have done in your shoes? Really? Well, that's something, I suppose. How is it possible that a whole city fell because of you, though? Like, I am curious. What do you mean, how? If you don't trust the word of a condemned, go ask somebody else. Like my little brother, Joran. If you still don't believe it, what's it to me? But if you're about to ask me to recount the story of my disgrace for the 1000th time, don't. So many years in the condemned. Surely you've paid your penance by now. Not up to me to decide. My life is in the Queen's hands. He falls silent for a moment. Then in a trembling voice he adds, the condemned isn't the worst part. All these years I've prayed to Torag for forgiveness. Countless times I've gone to his priests. Countless times I've kneeled before his altar. If only the Father of Dwarven kind would answer my prayers just once. Not to restore what I've lost, but just to tell me that I'm still one of his children. But it seems he doesn't give a damn about me. What can I expect from mere mortals when my own god doesn't think I deserve redemption? Man, dude, you really don't have any friends. Couldn't have survived this long if I were completely alone. Joran, my little brother, he keeps me going. He's never abandoned me. Everyone else shies away from me like they might catch what I've got. Even fighters in the condemned console themselves by thinking, I got stripped of my rank, but at least I'm not stunned. Commander Tirabade seems to be the only person in the whole army who remembers that I'm a soldier and not a drudge. She has no qualms about taking me into battle. She's had some mud flung at her in the past, or so I hear, so that's why she tries to keep an open mind about people. It's no surprise that she's the only one to hold on to her sense of reason in this farce. I need to talk to the elf who calls himself a storyteller. Do you know where I can find him? The storyteller? A strange old fellow, that one. He used to sit with me for hours, asking about all sorts of things. He never offered judgment or comfort. He just listened. At first, I wanted him and his questions as far away from me as possible, but later I realized that talking to him did ease my burden a little. Hope he's alive and well. He's completely blind and feeble, too, so if he's alone in the city, well, you probably know what that means. I do know one place he might be. Look for him in the Blackwing. It's a library. Here, I'll show you where it is on the map. I don't know what use a library is to a blind elf, but he loved the place. He'd sit there day and night. Thanks, Staunton. I've got to go. Go on, then. Maybe we'll see each other again. Camellia. She looks us over pensively, toying with the snake-shaped bone amulet that dangles from her pale neck. Noticing our glance, she flashes us a cold, barely there smile. Greetings. Seems for a moment that she wants to say something else, but the pause grows too long and she slips back into cautious silence. Your amulet is quite unusual. Where did you get it? Ah, my little trinket. It's so nice of you to notice, but I assure you, this amulet is nothing but a bauble. Can a lady not be drawn to beautiful, useless things? Okay, Camellia. Where'd you learn to wield a rapier so well? I had good teachers, although they don't get all the credit. I am a most diligent student. She licks her parched lips. You're much more relaxed during combat. Your battle cries are uninhibited. She blushes slightly and lowers her eyes. So you've noticed? To be honest, I find it embarrassing. You see, being a shaman means having spirits of battle as my ever-present companions. In the heat of combat, they become rather, vocal. Your speech tells me you're of noble birth. She laughs her practiced musical laugh as she watches us from under lowered lashes. You're most insightful. A fine quality to have. Her laughter ends and unspoken words hang in the silence. We're gonna flirt with her. Forgive me if my questions disturb you. I couldn't resist such a noble and beautiful lady. Stop bothering you immediately if talking to me upsets you. Not at all. Our conversation is an exquisite delight. She affords you a brief, friendly smile in appreciation of your manners. Tell me about yourself. You want to know more about me than you already do? Why? She arches a dainty brow. I talk to the spirits of this tormented land, and they guide me in battle. I'll help you fight the demons, and I swear that you can rely on me in this manner. Isn't that sufficient? Anyway, as much as I enjoy our delightful conversations, the spirits are calling me, and I must respond. Please excuse me. She turns away, watching us out of the corner of her eye. Horgus! Here, take this. Yes, it's 2,000 coins. Take your payment, and remember that Horgus Worm always keeps his word. You helped me get back to the surface, and I duly paid you for escorting me. Now, speaking of our future cooperation... He looks at us with unvarnished disapproval, his arms folded across his chest, his foot tapping impatiently. I have a job that would be perfect for someone like you. Naturally, I'll pay generously for your services. What do you mean a job for someone like me? For an adventurer ready to sell their soul for booze and then lie down drunk in the gutter. Or do you think you're somehow different? A traveling knight, perhaps? Noble of heart, but without a coin to your name? Horgus sizes us up critically, then sighs and shrugs. You seem a reliable enough ally to me, and you did get me out of those mongrel caves. So why should I care what you do with my money once you've got it? Horgus seems like one of those people who think the entire world owes them something. However, you hear notes of hysteria beneath his smug arrogance. It's as though he's really quite nervous, but taking great pains to conceal it. Noble birth doesn't give you the right to behave badly. I would ask that you refrain from such statements in the future. Oh, really? How impudent! No one dares tell Horgus Worm how to address the rabble. What does this job involve? You shall be my bodyguard. You see, I have good reason to return to my mansion here in Kenabres. I still have... Well, it doesn't matter. It's none of your business. My mansion is a breathtaking building with a large garden in the wealthy part of the city. Even before the demons attacked, every thief and fraudster in the city had tried to get inside, one way or another. I shudder to imagine the state it's in now. I have little hope that my guards are able to hold the mansion during the attack, and I expect the servants fled when they saw the demons. Only Abadar knows what's happened there since. Therefore, I would ask that you meet at my mansion and guard me there until I complete my business. Abadar is the god of cities, law, merchants, and wealth, also called the god of walls and ditches in the Eastern Dragon Empires. He's known to be a patient deity. Maintaining a strong neutral stance in his actions, he strives to expand civilization and order among the peoples of Galarian. I already asked the local paladins for help, but they've no desire to set foot outside this tavern. Damn cowards and traitors, that's what they are. Also, please do take Camellia with you. I trust that girl more than the rest of your gang. She is of noble birth, after all. What kind of reward are we talking about? 1,000 gold coins. Double it and I'll think about it. Yes! Several tense moments pass in silence, then his face relaxes. Deal. Deal. Marvelous. Most excellent. Abadar, god of banks and bean counters. Yeah. Horgus, absolutely a bean counter. His face relaxes, smoothing a few of the tense lines. I'll proceed to my mansion at once and wait for you there. Meanwhile, you needn't worry. I know the city like the back of my hand. But do hurry, unless you want me to lower your reward. Gemel! A strange figure towers over the bar, a huge, ungainly man with skin so milky white that his blue veins are visible even from a distance. His bald head is equal parts lumpy and pitted, and blood-filled eyes stare impassively out at you from beneath his pale brows. The glass in the albino's large, clumsy hands looks dangerously delicate, as if one twitch of those calloused fingers would be enough to crush it. A gold medallion engraved with a tankard gleams around his neck. What'll it be? Who are you? The albino slowly takes your measure with his red eyes, and finally with a gentle sigh says, Gamel Hawks, vampire. Are you really a vampire? He gives you a long look of reproach and then grudgingly answers, no. Any news in the city? There are demons everywhere, and you showed up. Any places in the city worth visiting? If you mean places that normal people usually stay well away from, then there are plenty, like the Pataxian wine cellar. He pauses for effect, like the name of the place alone should make you quiver in fear. Pitax is a city of brigands or really a nation of brigands that has grown to some degree of legitimacy. A band of vicious thieves made a hideout in a riverside hamlet. As they visited there year after year, their ill-gotten gold slowly transformed Pitax into something considerably larger than a simple, sleepy fishing village. Eventually, the bandits settled in Pitax permanently, building walls around the village, hiring sellswords to help defend against their enemies, and crowning themselves kings of a newfound realm. With this, Pitax became a permanent fixture of the River Kingdoms, able to survive and thrive for nearly 4 centuries, while others around it withered and decayed. Once belonged to a Pitaxian trading house. Then King Iraveti came to power in Pitax, and property started changing hands. Soon after, the settler's shop assistant was found in a ditch. Not all of him, mind, just his head. Numerian gangsters had taken possession of the place. They wanted to sell something stronger than wine on the street, and they ended up on the gallows. Then King Iraveti's number was up, so now the store stands empty and unclaimed. People say that a headless ghost wanders the place at night, moaning ghoulishly. Ooh. Numeria was once a rising power poised to unite its neighbors under the banner. Today it has fallen into decay. Savagery and science exist side by side there. Amid the wreckage of a crashed starship from a distant world, technomancers from across Galarian flock to research and exploit the technological wonders found within the otherworldly ruins. Meanwhile, tribes of primitive barbarians cling to age-old tradition and eschew technology in favor of their own raw skill and martial prowess. This is a nation where, under the auspices of technological advancement and the betterment of civilization, a select few rule a subjugated nation as despots and tyrants, placing their own power and continued reign above the well-being of their citizens. Yeah, so Numeria is basically Conan the Barbarian land. After coming to the end of the story, unusually long by his standards, the tavern keeper takes a swig from his tankard. Just don't ask me how he makes any noise with no head. I wasn't there. I just tell it like I heard it. How did you end up in the Crusader City? How did anyone up here? How did you? Or them? With a large hand, he gestures at the ragtag group assembled in the room. The world is big, but still there isn't a place for everyone. People who no longer have a life anywhere else, they end up here. I see you're not one for talking. He gives us a long, mournful look and says nothing. Show me what you have. Bulk selling. Nobody's using these, nobody's using that or that. Those are just scimitars, and nobody is a scimitar user in our group. Scythes, nobody's a scythe user in our group. If I remember correctly, Firebelly kind of sucks. We're just going to sell that. Doom definitely sucks. Closphere, iffy. We will hold on to it. These various scrolls are actually included for the purposes, largely for the purposes of if you happen to have characters in your party that are healed by negative energy rather than positive energy. So we will sell those because we don't need them. Wunderbar. Give me 35, almost 3,600 gold. Now we have many more monies. Okay. You only have the stuff that I sold you. Gloves of the Neophyte, Dark Omen. Dark Omen is absurdly, absurdly expensive. Grants you, it increases your spell list if you are a spontaneous caster. Gloves of the Neophyte. Oh, Gloves of the Neophyte are actually really good for us, now that I look at it. Because when we cast a cantrip, it deals 1 additional point of damage per dice rolled. Our whole class feature is that we like cast cantrips a lot and that they scale over time. Crash Starship in Numeria, it's James's Sword and Planet insert. He was stopped from taking it further. Yeah. Yeah, Numeria, from what I understand, is the like truly like pulp fantasy novel area where you have, like I said, like Conan the Barbarian and similar sorts of stories, or like the like, you know, fantastical Mars sorts of stories where you know, crazy technology exists alongside magic. or quasi magical technology exists alongside dangerous magic and, you know, hulking brutes of you know, extreme physicality. All right, the only weapons that he has to sell us are what we already sold him. Gloves of the Neophyte, very, very tempting for us. I believe that there's some early stuff that we can get that is even better at the very beginning, though. Main thing that this guy sells is 10 million potions. He also has a bottomless mug, which is hilarious. Really good for Drunken Masters. Pulp Barbarians fighting robots, John Carter, Flash Gordon, Ginger Star. Yes, yes. Okay, yes. You and I are loudly agreeing. There's also the Dark Veil, which gives us bonuses against range attacks for 1 minute every day. Situationally useful. It's the sort of thing where if you are a high level party, you would spend money on this to gain bonuses for that instance. But when that is, you know, more than 65% of your total wealth, we're not going to be purchasing that early on. Okay. There's Kyoto and Viasili. There's Indara. Look how this dude's name is Pink Eye. Like, that's awful. Bunch of small stuff for us to get our hands on. Jernoff, something like that. Young man in well-worn traveling clothes and a simple wooden symbol of Arastil on his chest is efficiently cutting a linen robe into strips to use as bandages. Despite his visible exhaustion, he works with zeal, singing some tune about red braids and ripe sheaves of wheat under his breath. He raises his warm, chestnut-colored eyes to you. Are you one of the Crusaders? Thank you for defending those of us whose talents lie off the battlefield. I'm Jernoff, servant of Arastil. Pleased to meet you. I could use the help of a cleric. He makes a helpless gesture. Arastil knows I'd be glad to help you, but it's no use. My spells are depleted, and I have no training in potions or scrolls. See this robe I'm cutting up for bandages? It's the second to last one. What are you doing? I only took my holy orders recently, so my god has only bestowed a little of his power upon me as yet. I'm sorry to say that the number of wounded soldiers in this tavern is far beyond my power to heal. But there's a reason people say, have faith in the gods, but look to yourself first. I may not be able to help the wounded with magic, but I can at least cut up bandages. Are you from around here? No, I was just passing through Kenabres. I was sailing down that old man of ours, the Great Sullen River, to a village by the name of Chili Creek. I happened to land on the city on the eve of the festival, and I'm ashamed to say I decided to stay for a day. To enjoy myself. Yeah, God forbid somebody takes a day off. I ended up staying in the city longer than I'd bargained for. Chili Creek, where's that? Small fishing village, not even marked on some maps. But people do live there. What they don't have is a priest. They have no one to heal their wounds, no one to offer prayers for a good catch, no one to give their dead a dignified burial. And the world wound is a stone's throw away. So I'll be setting sail for Chili Creek to serve my god and my people. Once we've held Kenabres, I'll be going there. If by the grace of the good gods we all survive this, you should come and visit me sometime. You'll find the village here on the bank of the river. He marks Chili Creek on our map. Aren't you, a young and inexperienced cleric, afraid to go into the border of the Worldwound? I won't lie, I am afraid, but what can I do? Those villagers are simple people. Every day of their short lives is spent doing hard, honest work. It's exactly the kind of life I want. Something simple, but meaningful. If I had centuries ahead of me, like elves do, I might have spared some 50 years or so to travel around the world, he says with a smile. Maybe even 100. Why not? But I don't have time to spare, so I want to spend my short life in the place where I'm needed most, even if it's dangerous. Especially if it's dangerous. Well, I have to go. May Rastal watch over you. Foreign Autumn Haze, I believe. Yeah, we're going to quick save here. Tall, fragile-looking elf sits in front of you, eyes closed. He's pale as a ghost, his arm wrapped in a blood-stained bandage. You spot other bandages on his body under his clothes, but even in such a miserable state, he manages to keep calm. Raising his eyes to meet yours, he says faintly, I am Foreign Autumn Haze, at your service. His pale lips are reddened by blood, but you see no signs of pain or fear in his gray eyes. Do you need help? He gives you a sad smile in response. Thank you, my kin. I expected no less from you, but save your strength. The healers here have already tended to my wounds to the best of their abilities. However, the arrows that pierced me were poisoned, and only I can fight off the poison's effects. I'm Artemimel. You can trust me. I might be able to help you. Of course, my kin. I'm always glad of the company of those who know our language and our ways. I'd like to know more about you. I won't hold anything back. Not who I am, why I made my way here, or who it is that I'm pursuing. Tell me about yourself. Other people tend to believe that identity is the sum of a person's actions and the events that happen to them. For them, I'm one of a long line of warriors of Kyonin who since his youth has dedicated himself to hunting evil and injustice. For them, I'm a successful and capable huntsman who has tracked down and slain a great many monsters. But I am an elf, and for me, my identity has a different meaning. It is shaped by the place where I was born and that I love so deeply. I'm shaped by what I find beautiful and what makes my heart quicken, by the fears that come to me in the dead of night, by the things I find so intolerable that at the sight of them, my very core darkens and fills with poison. Thus, to tell you who I am, I require many days and much candor, which is more than you and I have at our disposal. Why did you choose to be a hunter of evil? Because I am the son of a noble and proud nation. We are sometimes criticized for our arrogance, but no one dares doubt our honor. When a crime is committed, we cannot turn a blind eye. If we were to abandon our obligation to oppose evil, if we were to surrender this obligation to other races, we would also relinquish our preeminence. Giving us a meaningful look, he adds forcefully, surely you understand, my kin. I have no more questions. Who is your quarry here in Mendev? I was hunting a fugitive, a Descarite by the name of Kaylessa. It pains me to admit that there are heinous malefactors such as her among our noble kind. I managed to catch up to her in Kenabres and I wounded her. Then demons appeared and the city was engulfed in flames. I was injured in the battle that ensued and couldn't free her soul from its service to her dark masters. He expresses no anger or hatred as he speaks, only compassionate sorrow. I'm sorry for your misfortune. I hope things will turn out differently next time. He bows his head sincerely and with dignity. I will not fail you, my kin, you or our people. I wish to aid you in your hunt. He covers his eyes wearily. I thank you, but this is my mission, and I'm used to facing all manners of terrors on my own. I do appreciate your willingness to help. If you happen to meet Kaylessa, take caution. She's turned many innocent souls to the path of evil, and darkness has rewarded her with many gifts. Her appearance alone will tell you that. It is warped. Her agate skin, malicious stare of her blood-red eyes, her bestial teeth. She's more monster than elf at this point. Only God. He focuses his piercing gray eyes on you. That miscreant is a disgrace to our people, which means we must bring her transgressions to an end. Should you meet her, my kin, I ask that you show her no mercy. I have to go. Good fortune to you. Alright, we're gonna quick save one more time and talk to him. What's Kaylessa look like again? Just fail. Yeah. Alright. We are going to load the game and loading. We are loading. Alright, so we are not going to talk to Foreign Autumn Haze right now. If we have somebody with a higher world knowledge score, we will come back and talk to him. Alright. We're going to take this shield off the wall, because it reveals a button.
Always watch your back.
So there are... I think this technically is supposed to be a puzzle as opposed to just random guessing, but I always just do some random guessing. There's only 6 combinations and it's not the first, so down, up, down is not correct. So we're gonna... Button won't budge. Alright. Alright, worth a shot. Alright, I know that all down is also incorrect. I think we go up and bring this one down. Haha! I don't remember why that is the case, but that there is like an in-game hint for this. I just don't remember what it is.
Careful now.
Surrender thy soul, Delvin! Iomade, protect us! Got you again! How many times is that today? Take your jokes and shove them, tiefling. Whoa, easy there, Chief. Don't hit me. Woljif is hilarious. Is he a good person? No. Is he reliable? Also no. Is he at least loyal to his friends? No. But he is a magic man. So. Alright, we have now a headband of alluring charisma. It gives a charisma boost. We are going to give that, at least for now, to our paladin who gains benefits from those. I don't gain any benefits other than having some charisma, just having some riz. And it would improve my persuasion by 1 whole point. But she has a bunch of abilities that are dependent on charisma. So, if I remember correctly, Smite Evil. Yeah, Smite Evil is reliant on her charisma. It gives her charisma bonus to attack and damage against them. Plus, it gives her bonus armor, all against the target of the smite. So, is good stuff. Is good stuff. I don't know of anything else. Divine Health. Aura of Courage. Divine Grace. Divine Grace, that's it. Divine Grace also improves, causes her charisma to improve her saves. So, just good overall.
That's easy.
We also get a book out of it, if I remember correctly. Yellowed Letter. Half a century ago, our parents fled their homeland of Sarkoris, terrified of the invading demons. They were certain that the war would soon be over, so they didn't go too far and found their refuge here in Kenabres. They used what little savings they had to build a tavern where any crusader could get a bowl of soup and a good night's rest in exchange for some money and news about their recent victories. The city looked completely different back then. It was a triumphant city, full of hope, inspiring songs, and brave paladins in shining armor. We praised Our Lady Poliora openly and hoped that the lands of our ancestors would be ours again in no time. Things have changed since then, though. Our parents have left to the goddess's halls. Dresden is long gone. The world wound grows deeper every day, and the Crusaders seem to take more interest in fighting each other and us townsfolk than in eradicating demons. Helrune has gone mad and now puts all his inquisitive zeal into burning witches. Today, Kenabres is a city of fear and suspicion. We even had to hide our altar of the Shimmering Maiden in the basement so they wouldn't accuse us of demon worship. Queen Galfrey has recently appointed Helrune the prelate of Kenabres. Now nothing will stop this murderer from taking complete control of the city into his hands and serving his so-called justice on everyone. His previous acts of violence were just the beginning of a full-scale massacre. We have to flee, run like our parents did. This time not from demons, but from the Crusaders. Soon we will sell our tavern and leave, somewhere away from the agony of this endless war. May Pelora protect this city from whatever comes next. 10th of Lamashin, 4682, Swargal family of the Devamai clan. So yeah, just some background lore. Little something for people who investigate. Various loots. Delvin, go ahead. Don't take too long now.
Hey, Chief! Ooh, hey, gorgeous. Come over here. I want to talk to you about something. Something really important.
So he's a young tiefling that sits cross-legged on the floor. He looks relatively calm for someone in shackles, but his tail whips back and forth in agitation.
Quit bothering the decent people in here, Woljif, or I'll knock your teeth out!
What's it to you, Delvin Dum-Dum? You were told to guard me, and I'm not stopping you. But no one told me I had to shut my trap.
Ugh, Woljif, my beloved. He's a selfish magical thief tiefling with a tragic backstory, and like connections to larger demons. He's like the most D&D character that he's like if he would fit right in like a 4th or 5th edition campaign, but instead he's in Pathfinder, which still like very much same vibes, but just the modern memes of like, yes, here's my tiefling rogue or my tiefling warlock. Like Woljif almost kind of plays the line between both of those. Who are you?
Woljif Jefto. I deal in useful things. I can get you whatever you want. Anything. But there's just one problem.
He rattles his chains and gives a meaningful look. Why are you in chains?
Does it really matter? Don't get hung up on the past, Chief. Don't look to the future. Live in the here and now.
He was caught thieving.
Your shadow, what was that?
Get me out of here and I'll tell you. And don't worry, it's not contagious. I'll lay it out for you. Simple job, 30 minutes tops. We go someplace, talk to someone, and in return, whatever you want, I'll get it for you. Some extra rations? No problem. Armor, weapons, scrolls, you name it. It's as good as yours. If you need my help with something, whistle and I'll be there. I'm handy enough with knives too, and even my magic know-how isn't too shabby.
What a load of guff! If you were good at magic, you wouldn't be stuck in here now, would you?
Don't you listen to him, Chief. He'd find fault with the Queen herself. I'll be useful to have in battle, and I'll sell whatever you want at a reasonable price. It's your lucky day. You won't meet another gem like me in Kenabres.
Can't help you while you're chained up here. How can I free you?
That's easy. You know Irabeth? Feisty-looking gal, always wears armor. You can't miss her. She's the meanest fighter in the whole city. When you see her, put in a good word for me, will ya? Tell her there's this guy Woljif locked up for no good reason in the Defender's Heart. Well, for the follies of his youth. And he really wants to get out on bail so he can keep up his good behavior and make a contribution to society. You got that? Will you do it?
I love Woljif. He's just Like he's just, at least when you first meet him, he's just an unrepentant scoundrel, but like he's so charismatic that he gets away with it. I'll talk to Irabeth about your situation.
I knew I could count on you. Knew it the moment I laid eyes on you.
We'll talk later.
Precisely.
We've got more trinkets to sell. Whoop, loot. All right, Gemel, what you got? Selling that. Guess those don't matter, so we don't have to worry about that. Deal.
Always watch your back.
Shadow! I believe that help is already in the way. The queen will not leave us to die. A stout old man with a fuzzy gray beard mumbles a prayer. He looks as tired as everyone else in the tavern, but determination is stamped on his haggard face. Well, what can I do for you? Who are you? Visali Rathimus, rector of the local temple of Abadar. The temple is gone, though, and if we snooze here for much longer, the city will be lost as well. Who's that boy with you? This one? Kyato the shepherd, my apprentice. He's a smart boy, and his faith is strong. He serves a rascal, though, but there's still something he can learn from an old servant of Abadar. He'll be a great cleric when he gets a little older. What kind of help can I expect from you? Well, first I sell scrolls. I have a lot of them, something for every emergency. Second, while you're here in the tavern, I can read one for you. Guaranteed, no surprises. But you'd better not go into the city without a cleric. I won't be going there myself. I'm too old, and my powers are needed here. Show me them scrolls, scroll seller. All right, so we can learn magic from his scrolls. More interestingly, he's got some stuff here. Specifically, the Icy Protector is a fantastic bonus for Anevia, or not Anevia, Camellia, because she does in fact have the Ice Plant Hex. So it gives her +2 AC and cold resistance 10. It is a crazy boost early on. Bursts of the Wizard are good for a little bit later on. Ring of Powerful Blood Magic, specifically for Blood Raging. Daredevil Boots. As you recall, it's the first appearance of the Lashunta and the source of power for the Technic League. Also, hello, Claudia. While using acrobatics to avoid provoking attacks of opportunity, you get +5 bonus to mobility checks. And whenever you make a successful mobility check while that ability is active, you get a +1 bonus to attack rolls for 1 round. So Daredevil Boots are good if you expect to be weaving in and out of fights. Ring of Protection, Amulet of Natural Armor, those are the usuals. That's what Sela already has, so we don't care about it. Source of the Nascent Goddess of... Is it... Oh, yeah, Goddess of AI. Yes, yes. Yeah, that's where androids are born from. Blood Raging is very specific, and there is not a companion that does that. They just happen to have magic items to entice you to have a character that does that. You're always saying powerful blood magic. You should give that ring to Meryl. Yeah, no, it is specifically for Blood Rager, which combines barbarian and sorcerer, basically. So while you are blood raging, which is a type of rage that allows you to also cast spells. But while you are in that and you cast a spell, the ring increases the save DC by what? So this guy has alchemy and scroll scribers kits. These are useful. They let us craft items. I don't believe we have anybody with the relevant abilities right now. Consumables. Lesser extend is helpful. So like meta magic rods are pretty cool. Wand of Bless. One of these guys I thought had a bag of holding for us to purchase. Yeah, there we go. So we're going to purchase this immediately because carrying capacity is at a premium. And my character is certainly not holding her weight, so. You know that Ginger Star is an actual book, but you just vaguely think cute girl with red hair in space based on the words? Yeah, I gotta be honest, I am also of that mind. Meryl does not seem to fit as a Blood Ranger. As a Blood Ranger described as that? No. There's Meryl could be converted to Pathfinder rules. If anything, she a lot of a lot of Dragon Age mages are kind of this weird combination of sorcerer and wizard in D&D terms, where like they have to be born with it, but they study to make it to like they have to study to like improve their abilities, and obviously there's the whole added risk of like demonic possession and stuff. There are many cute girls in Ginger Star. Ooh, all right, Boo. I think you might be selling Claudia and I on this book club. Let me see. Potion of Inflict Light Wounds. Yeah, we're gonna sell that. Would Arcanist work? Seemed like some kind of sorcerer wizard combination from what you saw of it. I mean, I think you would simply here. Hylor is our mercenary guy. Oh, first of all, let's talk to Sela. She smiles at us warmly. Hey there! During that march through the dungeon, we never got the chance to exchange a proper greeting. It's high time I shake your hand. Irbeth said your friend Jana Aldori is missing. Do you know where we should look for her? Irbeth is worried about her fighters. I understand that. I wanted to look for Jenna myself, so I didn't distract you. But since you're in this too, I could use some help. Jenna and I met in Kenabres a few days ago and just hit it off. We went drinking together. We went to that unforgettable celebration together too, but we got separated in the crowd. So we should start looking from the main square. That's where I last saw her. She frowns. Jenna's a good fighter, even if she is green. She couldn't have become an Aldori otherwise. I hope that she's alright. Don't read too much in the author's thinly veiled politics. There's a lot of damned hippie welfare queens beneath the surface. Bummer. That's the case with all... honestly, if you're reading like classical pulp, sci-fi and fantasy, the best way to do that is by blatantly ignoring, or not the best way to do it, but the best way to enjoy it is to blatantly ignore the author's politics, like 95% of the time. So a lot of those early sci-fi fantasy writers were not good people in terms of their politics. I would like to know more about you. Of course, ask anything. I'll answer honestly. I've learned everything I wanted to know because I don't want to get through that whole thing. What do you think of what's going on in Kenabres? It's complete chaos. It's lucky we're here to handle it, right? She smiles brightly and then gives you a worried look. Does the way I talk bother you? I know I can seem blasé. Many good people and our protector Tarandula have died here in Kenabres. Paladin of Iomade is expected to be properly respectful and solemn. But I prefer to face my troubles with a smile and a bit of common sense. Grief is a weapon they'll use against you. It can undermine a warrior's spirit. It's better we hold off on grief until we've driven the last demon and cultist from the city. If we want to win, we can't be mourning our deceased day and night. Plus, joy heals the soul. A huge bit about politicians actively hand-waving climate disaster out of self-interest. Oh, interesting. Is fighting demons all you want? Or are you looking for something more? How about covering myself in glory and becoming the hero of 100 ballads? Or at least a dozen, if they're lively ones. Her eyes shine cheerfully. Anyway, to be more serious, the area around the World Moon is the best place for a paladin who wishes to defend the weak and serve good. Being part of the crusade is reward enough for me, but there's something that worries me. I don't want to sound like I'm criticizing my brothers in arms, but the Eagle Watch and the other orders are focused on just one aim, the war against the World Moon. That's why they can sometimes overlook the smaller things. Ordinary misfortunes, you know. I always liked being a wandering knight because any moment I could get up and go help a poor rat folk whose family had been kidnapped, or an old woman whose favorite dog had gone missing. So here's my answer. I don't have some big important goal, but I'll be happy to help those who need it. A little bit here and there. It's actually the thing that drives the plot. The star is ginger because it's going cold, slowly plunging the planet into an ice age. Oofda. That sounds not good. Alright, now tell me more about yourself. Where are you from? I'm a little bit from Geb, a little bit from Katapesh, but mostly from the Knights of Iomade. I was accepted and began my training at 14. I belong to their ranks more than I belong to any other place. You've come to Mendev by a long road, haven't you? A very long one. Sela looks at us cheerfully. A traveler is expected to have amusing stories. Unfortunately, I have only 3 tales of any interest, and I'd like to save them for our next feast. Otherwise, I won't have anything to show for myself when it's time to start bragging. And that just won't do. Especially since I'll win the night with my cautionary tale of a battle with chupacabras. Chupacabras? Fast? Can't they drink their victim's blood during combat and gain strength from it? Oh, yes. Her face grows serious. They do it very quickly. They bite one victim, suck out their blood, and then strike the next victim, quick as lightning. But now you've tricked me and I've started telling the tale, so I may as well do it properly. Picture a small town in Kadira. Down in the dungeon, there's 2 murderers waiting to be executed. Gallows are already built for them. Rope's been bought. But sometimes life takes a surprising turn. Suddenly, a paladin of Iomade appears in the doorway and offers the murderers a deal. If they go with her to fight some monsters, they'll live. If they survive, that is. There's a big difference between imminent death and probable death with a glimmer of hope, wouldn't you say? So here we are, traveling through the desert, me and my friend, a priestess of Sarenrae, along with a little ratfolk fellow who'd asked for our help, and the 2 cutthroats. We get to the ratfolk village and see their bodies lying around, all drained dry. We figured we'd have to fight vampires. That's how the little ratfolk described the monsters who attacked their village. That's why we went in all brazen-like. The sun was high, and the vampires couldn't attack until dusk. But we never got a chance to look around. Black shadows, quick as the wind, attacked us from all sides. Not vampires, but chupacabras. One of the lads we pulled from the gallows got killed right away. The second one ran for his life. That left me, the ratfolk, and Kyra. That was the name of the priestess. And we all steeled ourselves for the fight of our lives. Just when we thought the end had come, with the chupacabras surrounding me like a pack of dogs around a bear, our ratfolk friend wounded and down, and the teeth of the quickest of those blasted monsters clenched on Kyra's shoulder. Right then, when all hope was lost, the other lad from the gallows suddenly comes running back. He kills the beast attacking Kyra. I'm sure you know what a turning point in a fight looks like. Well, this was it. A moment before we were lost, and a moment later we had it back under control. The chupacabras dropped dead, one by one. The little ratfolk is reunited with his family, who are hiding in the basement. The priestess and I closed the eyes of that boy from the gallows who saved us. It was a shame he didn't survive the fight. May the gods keep his soul in its journey through the afterlife. That's a good story. He could have died in disgrace on the gallows, but instead he died a hero. I'd fancy the stunt earned him some points at his final judgment. Smart to remember our journey doesn't end at death. Had it not been for that mercy, Milos, that was his name, would be hanging from a noose, and me, Kyra, and all the ratfolk would be dead in that village. Someone told me that a kind deed done by an unkind person is 100 times more precious. By the same token, an evil done by a noble soul is 100 times more horrifying. That's what I really wanted to say. The chupacabras were just a good starting point. What made you become a paladin of Iomade? Her gaze sharpens momentarily, then Sela sighs. That's a serious question, and a good one. You should ask it of your companions, but it's a long story. To start with, 12 years ago I was nothing like the person I am now. I roamed the streets of Sulku with the other homeless orphans. I stole, I fought, was a hired sword for a bit. Not the proper origin for a paladin, is it? Back then, Solku was a city of orphans, widows, and widowers. Gnolls decimated the city regularly. My parents were among their victims. People there heard about new deaths before they'd finished mourning their previous losses. One day, a group of knights of Iomade brought a glimmer of hope to the city, but while others saw them as saviors and protectors, I was busy pricing up their noble horses and their gleaming mithril armor, wondering just how much one of their pretty swords would fetch. A thief lives one day at a time, that's what they say. I was the type that never thought past the next job. Anyhow, I was able to sneak into the knight's camp and steal one of their mithril helms. She pauses, her voice sad and measured. I was right there when a gnoll attacked the helm's owner. Akemi was her name, and dealt a blow to her unprotected head. A gnoll like all those others, she'd fearlessly driven from the gates of Solku. That one blow was fatal. But who was really to blame for her death? The gnoll attacker? Or the young thief named Sela? Even a seemingly small misdeed can have terrible consequences. Yes, you're right 1,000 times over. I hate to say it, but I just didn't see it back then. If I had never got that lesson, my eyes would probably never have been opened. Who knows what would have happened to me if it wasn't for Akemi and her bravery. And her death. Maybe the world would know Sela as a bandit, not as a knight and protector if there was a need. There's a saying I like to remember. People rarely find redemption on their own. Someone must show them the way. But you were asking what brought me into the ranks of Iomade's warriors. We all choose the paladin's path for our own reasons. Some are guided by a nobility of spirit, some by a desire to fight injustice. I became who I am through penance and a debt unpaid. The day Akemi died protecting my city, I wanted to kill myself for the terrible guilt I felt. But then I realized it wouldn't make the world any better, and I decided that instead I'd try to take her place. I'd become who she had been, and protect the innocents that she would no longer be able to protect. What are these principles that you follow? I'll tell you. I like to recite our code. Feels like I've said it 1,000 times, but it never gets old. There's strength in these words. After a pause, Sela begins, her voice slow and meditative. I will learn the weight of my sword. Without my heart to guide it, it is worthless. My strength is not in my sword, but in my heart. If I lose my sword, I have lost a tool. If I betray my heart, I have died. I'll have faith in the inheritor. I will channel her strength through my body. I will shine in her legion, and I will not tarnish her glory through base actions. I am the first into battle, and the last to leave it. I will not be taken prisoner by my free will. I will not surrender those under my command. I will never abandon a companion, though I will honor sacrifice freely given. I will guard the honor of my fellows, both thought and deed, and I will have faith in them. When in doubt, I may force my enemies to surrender, but I am responsible for their lives. I will never refuse a challenge from an equal. I will give honor to worthy enemies and contempt to the rest. I will suffer death before dishonor. I will be temperate in my actions and moderate in my behavior. I will strive to emulate Iomade's perfection. Thanks for speaking with me. Hi, Lord! A tall, athletic man greets you. His hair is prematurely gray and shorn close to his head in a military style. He's lean and well-groomed, and a monocle twinkles coldly in his eye. The bold set of his jaw and his large but agile frame attest that here is a man who is always ready to be on the move. Greetings! I'm Hylor, Venture Captain of the Pathfinder Society. I'm the superior officer among Pathfinders in this region of Mendev. However, the Society is running almost no operations here right now. Besides me, there are almost no Pathfinders here. Actually, I'm only stuck here because of an old feud with a demon worshipper known as the Spinner of Nightmares. I've had to work alone without the support of the Society, but I've made a lot of acquaintances among the local mercenaries and daring fighters. If you need any good fighters for an honest cause, talk to me. I need brave and experienced fighters. That amount is unacceptable. I have to go. Okay, hold on. We are going to quick save. Then Hylor, brave and experienced fighters. I will give you 4,500 gold. This is really just to see like faux Meryl. So Arcanist. Arcanist would not help. Blood Rager is... Oh, dang. No, Blood Rage is not helpful. Reformed Fiend. Reformed fiends are demons who have entered on the path of good, though they still look like monsters in the eyes of the most living. No one will dare to doubt that the rage with which they fight the creatures of evil is the force the world needs most in these difficult times. That's really cool. That's wicked cool. All right, but still not helpful. We are looking for sorcerer. No, wizard. Okay. She could be a Kuroromancer. Kuroromancer. Also, hello, Swag. She'd have to be a Dampier, but yeah, Blood Infusion. When they cast a spell at the Necromancy School, they can opt to infuse the spell with undead tainted blood as a swift action. Each time they use Blood Infusion, they drain a portion of their own blood, either by cutting themselves with a blade or by opening a scab from a previous wound. When they do so, they take an amount of damage equal to 1d4 plus half their wizard level. And they can change how blood works. They can change their spells. They're necromancers by specialty. But yeah, this is the only blood mage that we have available in this game. She also gets to be even worse at healing, that not having any with the wacky backwards healing thing. Yeah. See, so basic Dampier, bonus to Dex and Charisma, penalty to Constitution. Not helpful when you're using your own blood for spells. Honestly, you'd want a plus, you'd want bonus to Intelligence and Constitution if at all possible. But I don't think that there's any of them that have that. So, Jiangshi born is usually the result of some foul ritual or magically possessed father rather than direct congress between a human and Jiangshi. Jiangshis lack any natural desire for physical conduct or for procreation, and their putrefying internal organs make most unable to conceive. Morai born. What you could do... So I'm trying to think... Vampire King born. Strength and Intelligence. You don't care about that. +2 Dex and Intelligence, -2 Wisdom. That's probably your best shot. More often the result of curiosity or experimentation than mating, the Dampier offspring of Vitalas are born with sharp minds and inclined to ask questions. Known as Ajibakanas, they are forceful and precocious, but their progenitors' distaste for the devout is mirrored in their weakness around holy or unholy sites. Just like their vampire parents, Ajibakanas yearn for knowledge and often engage in scholarly pursuits, but their mortality drives them to work harder and learn faster. In a few short decades, they might gain a better understanding of themselves and their accumulated knowledge than their eternally childish parents ever could have. And then she'd be like an arcane scholar, right? At least Dex and Int are both useful and you don't get a con penalty. Yeah, I mean, that's what you'd have to do, right? The portrait, obviously, would not matter. But then, yeah, you'd just crank up Intelligence to 19. She very specifically does not need Strength. And then... more than usual, you would want a high Constitution. I don't know. Crank that Wisdom down even further. Just no will saves whatsoever. do something like that. If I were to make Meryl, that's probably how I would make her. And then she'd get Arcana and use magic device and then 2 other skills. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, Kuromancer loses Arcane Bond, gains Blood Infusion. They have to be a Necromancer. And also, they lose their 5th level wizard feat and their 20th level wizard feat, but instead gain Commanding Infusion, which improves Animate Dead, and Perfect Infusion, which allows them to use blood infusions without taking damage, which is kind of cool. And then you're just like a weird Necromancer, which is not ideal because blood magic mostly was just a way to gain additional spells, or it allowed you to have essentially a secondary mana bar in that game, so not the same, but and then maybe like have her take Arcanist for the remaining, like be some kind of Arcanist / Kuromancer multi-class, but did we in fact lose 4,500? We didn't! Hooray! So but yeah, you could in fact play as off-brand Meryl if you so desired. Beth. She rubs her red entire eyes. Any success? How is the city? There's a tiefling chained up in the defender's heart. What can you tell me about him? She shrugs scornfully. Woljif is a petty thief from a gang of thieflings operating in Kenabres. That's what we call them in these parts. They tried to rob a vendor of magical items recently. Unfortunately, we apprehended only one of them, and the rest managed to escape. We have nowhere else to keep him apart from the defender's heart, but that's hardly a prison. Woljif knows it too. He's been begging us for days to let him go free or have someone vouch for him. He's already asked you to put in a good word for him, hasn't he? Erebeth squints at you thoughtfully, then shrugs. If you want to recruit Woljif and put him to good use, go ahead and take him off our guard's hands. We can ill afford to let a soldier spend their days watching over a middling thief. I hope the tiefling proves useful, should you decide to take him along. Alright, I have to go. I can talk to you about stuff in a later stream. Alright, these guys actually are interesting to talk to. Either one of them will give us a useful thing here. So, Indara, an imposing young Oriad, is surrounded by a group of crusaders who are hanging on to her every word. I hope this example clearly illustrates the difference between Jistka legionnaires from the last war and the crusaders. The perfection of form and spirit they were imbued with during creation turned them into parts of a well-balanced war machine. Not a ragtag bunch of individuals, but a united whole. Now, tell me again why I'm supposed to be impressed by your reckless assaults, where everyone is fighting for their ego and for the right to beat their peers to a swift but pointless heroic sacrifice? The Crusaders grumble unhappily, but it is clear that they are captivated by the woman's words. The only exception is a scraggly and disheveled halfling monk whose puffy black eye gives him away as a brawler and a troublemaker. He enthusiastically pushes forward and tries to engage, but one of his friends swiftly jabs him in the back with an elbow, making the poor fellow pause to catch his breath. Looks like we got ourselves a student of warfare. The woman gives you a suspicious look and raises an eyebrow. Were your words meant to recognize my achievements, or to start a fight the way Mendevian crusaders usually do? One of the crusaders angrily curls his fist tightly and retorts with a burst of passion. If those gists of yours, or whatever, had come for us, we'd have their guts for garters. You think we've never fought a mighty adversary before? The soldier's stern facade cannot fully conceal his relish. He clearly plans to enjoy this confrontation. The crusaders around him look upon their exotic opponent with a mixture of irritation and piqued interest. The woman chuckles before cutting off her interlocutor. I would love to see you storm a 60-foot-tall walking castle shaped like a gigantic elephant that carries siege fortifications on its back. And I'll have you know that these fortifications were defended by Jistkin priest craftsmen armed with demon-bound war machines. Yeah, Jistka is ridiculous. It was the first human kingdom to establish itself in the Inner Sea region after the centuries of darkness and devastation caused by Earthfall, which is when a giant meteorite hit the planet. Citizens spoke a nearly forgotten language called Jistka, whose alphabet became the basis for the alphabets of the modern languages of Skald, Varisian, and Taldane. At its height, it dominated all of northwestern Garand and also parts of southwestern Avestan. Raids of desert nomads and attacks by powerful outsiders from minus 3300 onward and the lack of a strong eastern trade route led to the slow decline of Jistka. Osirian, then a burgeoning kingdom under the control of the powerful pharaoh of Forgotten Plagues, pushed westward. It overthrew the already weakened Jistka, and the Imperium was plunged into numerous succession wars around minus 2764, from which it was never again able to recover its former political, military, and economic power. Because of this military and economic defeat, the important cultural, magical, and technological advances of the Jistka Imperium were largely lost and forgotten. So, yeah. They use the enemies you cannot defeat as mindless weapons. The woman gives the people around her a triumphant look and adjusts her clothes with pointed nonchalance. Her voice takes on a lecturer's tone. You should not argue with someone who happens to be the most authoritative researcher on the history of warfare 3,000 years before the foundation of Absalom. The woman looks at you and flashes an amused smile. The lecture is over. Do my esteemed listeners have any questions? Who are you? I'm Indara, a warrior, magus, and scholar of classical warfare from Garand. She peers at us apprehensively, then sighs. I admit that I am mildly offended by the fact that my name is entirely unfamiliar to you, but I'm willing to accept that this is due to Avestan's isolation from the sophisticated culture of the world at large. So Garand is the continent found south of Avestan, across the Inner Sea and west of Katmaran, from which it is separated by the Obari Ocean. During the late Age of Anguish and Age of Destiny, central Garand was the heart of civilization in the hemisphere. This legacy of arcane discovery remains even today in the nations of Osirian, Nex, Nantambu, and Holamag. Beyond these bastions of civilization, Garand is overrun by dangerous wilds, from expansive deserts to impenetrable jungles. Avestan is a continent on the world of Galarian, one of the most densely populated areas on the planet. Avestan possesses many varied cultures and environments as any other continent in the world, and has an ancient history stretching back tens of thousands of years. Brevoy, the River Kingdoms, Numeria, and the Stolen Lands are all situated on Avestan. You've come a long way to be here. I like to think of myself as an inhabitant of Galarian. I don't narrowly identify with any country in particular. Well, why did you come here? To witness a legendary war. The confrontation between denizens of a plain famous for its love of violence and the crusaders from every continent, united by the common goal of defending their home. An epic struggle of colossal proportions. That hasn't been particularly epic so far, truth be told. The monk with a black eye grins and mutters under his breath. Maybe she just can't see it from here. The view will get way more epic if she stops hiding among us and takes a walk outside. The woman smirks contemptuously. She does not deem the monk's words worthy of comment. Looks like you know more about warfare than any of us. Oh? Am I hearing things, or did someone finally acknowledge my competence in the art of warfare? Perhaps there's a sufficiently open-minded person among the Crusaders after all. I find myself pleasantly surprised. Why don't you join the Crusaders and show them how fighting should be done? No. I'm a historian, an analyst, a theorist. Do you know what these three words have in common? They describe a mortal woman who does not participate in the conflict upon which her thesis will be founded. But then again, I will hardly be able to describe this mess as anything other than a feeble likeness of the last war of Jistka. The monk with a damaged eye grins slyly and comments, the more dangerous the upcoming scuffle is, the more motivated we are to find clever and pretty words to justify not actually doing the fighting. What is this last war that you mentioned? The last war of Justka, of course. A large-scale conflict that took place 3,000 years before the foundation of Absalom. It was a war against the Osirian pharaoh of Forgotten Plagues, the war that ended the legendary Justka Imperium. An epic struggle that became the most vibrant page in military history. Alas, all conflicts that followed it were but a pale shadow, including the one I am witnessing here. Why do you find the last war of Justka so inspiring? Imagine legions of golems imbued with extraplanar spirits marching into battle. Imagine flying cities that swoop out of the clouds like terrifying monstrous birds of prey to drop forces on top of enemy castles. Picture gigantic mechanisms powered by captive and very angry demons and devils. Imagine standing in the warpath of walking citadels or having to cover your ears to block out the sound of cannons loaded with shrieking elementals. Finally, imagine the ultimate weapon that defeated the Justka, the deadly Night Plague. This affliction was an attack dog, a trained epidemic, a tamed pestilence, striking only those who its master wanted to kill. Imagine all these terrors and understand that no flight of fancy can even come close to the horror of the nightmares that they made real. How do you know so much about it? I can say without false modesty that there is no more authoritative researcher on Golarion when it comes to the history of warfare 3,000 years before the foundation of Absalom. I've dedicated my whole life to this subject. I've personally visited old battlefields and studied the most mysterious and forbidden archives containing chronicles of ancient wars, sometimes risking my life in the process. I saw a fallen sky city of Shori Empire with my own eyes. I ripped out the control crystal from an exterminator-class combat golem that guarded a Justka laboratory with my own hands. These fingers held the glass flask that the servants of Pharaoh of Forgotten Plagues used to create the first generation of pestilence that devastated the Justka Imperium. How do I know so much? I saw and touched everything I am telling you about. I think you're wrong to treat the Crusaders with such disdain. Allow me to explain. A debate? Oh, I will be happy to prove that the current conflict can't hold a candle to the last war of Justka. Very well. Last war of Justka was waged using a significantly greater number of troops. Both sides actively relied on reinforcements from allied planes, and their strategic planning was perfected through no fewer than 7 rounds of intensive design. None of the above applies to this war of yours. Compared to the Justka, we are but some stone club that we Compared to the Justka, we are but stone club wielding kobolds. I would like to conclude my thesis with a few words of wise counsel from Dagon, an advisor to the Pharaoh of Forgotten Plagues. I doubt you will comprehend the true genius of his statement, but here it is, nevertheless. A gadfly sees the ox pays no heed to the gadfly, but crimson fever takes them both. Okay, so we have plus 11 diplomacy or plus 6 world knowledge. The events of the past are shrouded in legend, but the fate of the world is being decided here and now. This is what you fail to grasp. The earnestness on the faces of those around you has taken away Indara's panache, encouraging her to backtrack and stumble over words. Of course, I'm not trying to diminish the importance of current events. What I'm trying to say is that from the standpoint of history, in particular the history of warfare... She falls silent, fixedly staring at the unfriendly eyes of her audience. The true importance of these developments won't become obvious until later. She offers a pretentious dismissal. As a scholar, I cannot deny that there's a certain truth beneath your skeptical statements. History is a complex discipline rooted in fact and evidentiary base that grows ever more meager the farther the described period is from the present moment. Of course, if I were to argue in bad faith, the way Crusaders embellish their tales of slaying a single Brimmerak by adding a dozen Balors, for example, I could win this debate, but I am above such things, and therefore I'm forced to admit that your skepticism is not entirely without merit. Have you changed your mind about joining the Crusaders? Ooh, Necro, welcome, welcome. You turned your nap into a coma? Yeah, that is generally the case with naps, isn't it? Like, if I take a nap and I tell lovely wife that I'm taking a nap, and if I tell her, don't worry about me, I've set an alarm. She's like, okay, and then I inevitably sleep through, or like the alarm goes off, I turn the alarm off, and then roll back over and go back to sleep. So like you need somebody to be the bad guy. If both of you are asleep, or if one of you is like, don't worry, this nap will only be a half an hour or only be an hour or whatever, and the other person like you need somebody to be there to like pull you awake, you know? But I don't see the point. You Crusaders appear to be quite confident in your skills. If nothing else, you've presented your arguments to me with extreme confidence. And Dara unbuckles her sword belt, hands you the weapon. This is a worthy blade. It will be of use not only for the strong, but also for the wise. And this is where I bid you farewell. Before the end of the day, I was planning to observe how winged demons use pack tactics to drive their prey like herds of livestock. It is about time I got back to my research. The hint of a smile graces her lips when she sees disappointment in the eyes of many Crusaders around her. Stay safe. If it's both of you, you can also cuddle, right? Which doesn't help in terms of getting up sooner. Exactly. Yeah. Like if you are trying to make it only a nap and not full sleep, one of you has to be awake to pull the other one out of the dream world. You know what I mean? So we got a Claw of Jistka. It is a +1 flaming short sword, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, most of our characters can't make effective use of it. I think we're gonna put this in the box, mostly. Like, we could give it to Lan, and he is pretty good with it. 6 to 16, 4 to 11, but he loses an attack. And he's less accurate. Maybe he'll hold on to it as his melee option. You know what I mean? Hello, local. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Cuddles were killer. You got so comfy. Yeah, it's worse when you go to wake me up and I octopus you in. Yes, I'm very dangerous for that. Yeah. So Lan is going to hold on to the Claw of Jistka for now. If you lose the debate, Pink Eye like says some stuff and then gives you something on his own. Maybe it'd be good for that thief they mentioned you could recruit. Short swords seem to be a classic thief option. So it's a good option for him later on, but he is only good with daggers to start with. He can use short swords, but he has a class feature that lets him add his dex to dagger damage. That does not apply to short swords yet. So it is cute, Claudia. It is cute. But the problem is that if we have somewhere to go, and I'm like, no, I want more snuggles, you know? Oh, right. Hi, Laura. Tell me about your confrontation with the Spinner of Nightmares. It all began with a task of the Pathfinder Society. I arrived in Erosion with my team to investigate the sudden death of a famous crusader, Baron Falrin. We soon focused in on a small hospital for the wealthy, where Falrin was being treated shortly before his death. It turned out that a gang of Baphomet's cultists, calling themselves the Labyrinth of Mind, had gotten a foothold at the hospital. They were obsessed with twisting the minds of their victims and targeted fragile people too weak to resist. The hospital was filled with perfect victims, isolated for weeks. Some sort of feat progression weapon finesse thing. You mostly know the 3 and 5e versions of it. It is like a rules expansion from late in first edition Pathfinder, where they had been making edits to, like, they had released different versions of certain classes that had been deemed to be not powerful enough to be valid choices. More likely if we have... Yes, it is... I am only in a napping mood when it is least convenient. Yeah, the Unchained classes. This game includes some aspects of them, but one of the things that it includes with most, if not all, rogue types, like rogue and its subclasses in this game, it's like finesse training or something like that. First of all, in this, all rogues get weapon finesse at level 1, and they also choose a weapon that they are good with, that allows them to add their dex to damage. It basically just assumes that any character in this, because we're specifically playing a combat heavy video game, it just chooses combat specific options for rogues. Oh, yes, Brownie. That too. Okay. So the hospital is filled with perfect victims, isolated for weeks from the outside world, completely helpless. When they returned, they were different, almost normal. But the moment they heard a certain phrase, something dark awoke in their mind, and they transformed into servants of Baphomet, ready to lie, betray, and even kill. The labyrinth of mind was preparing to infiltrate all the elite circles and mend out. But Baron Falarin stopped them. He was too loyal to his oath and too resistant to their spells. He fought for his freedom until the strain broke his heart. We opened and cleaned the city of Baphomet's pit of vipers. Their den was a cradle of sin and filth. They cast spells on each other, and their loathsome fantasies stepped real from their minds into the world. They dreamt of horrible and forbidden things, and they fought like mad. We burned the place to the ground and slaughtered everyone we could, but the leaders of the cult were able to flee, and they were set upon revenge. Like the adjusted 5e Ranger? Yeah, similar idea, Claudia. But arguably even more necessary because of the design philosophy of 3rd edition, which Pathfinder 1st edition was based on. It was a known design aspect of 3rd edition, 3.5, and therefore anything built on either one of those, that the original designers of it wanted system mastery to be an important thing. So certain classes or options were just strictly worse than others. And so if you knew a lot about the numbers behind the game, you were rewarded by knowing which options to select. But the problem with this is that it causes notable gaps in character strength and therefore character viability. And so certain classes like Rogue and Barbarian and Fighter, and I think another one, but I'm not sure, in Pathfinder 1st edition, just were like known to lag behind other classes that gave similar benefits but might have like other buffs on top of them, right? Or all of that, paled in comparison to like a wizard with some amount of prep time. You know what I mean? Like, so what they did is they re-released the Unchained classes that were like updated versions of some of these character classes that replaced certain features or gave them like additional features that were supposed to help remove some of their like most flagrant weaknesses, like stuff with the Rogue, which was ostensibly a combat class, but because you couldn't add dexterity to damage, rogues needed like they tended to lag behind fighters in terms of their like abilities because they were less accurate than fighters, and or other like martial classes, and also like were relying on a bunch of skills, and they had a bunch of features that wanted them to not be investing a ton of points into strength, but if they needed to be a good fighter, then like they were kind of lacking behind. So one of the things that they got was just the weapon finesse feat for free, right? Like it was like, this is a thing that will allow you to function in the way that you're kind of intended to function, and we're not going to penalize you for choosing this class. They kept putting super flavorful stuff behind statistically worse archetypes. Yes. Yeah, like they had, and like 3.5 had the same issue where you had a bunch of classes and prestige classes that were super cool, and also like weren't ultimately intended for player characters to actually choose them, right? A lot of these were like intended for like flavorful NPCs who had cool abilities that didn't need to stack up alongside the same characters over and over. There are ways to add dex damage. You could take fencing, grace, or dervish stance, but those requires rapier or scimitar respectively. Yeah, like they needed, like you couldn't just be a guy with a knife, right? 2017's DuckTales. DuckTales, woohoo! How'd that go, Violet? Hylar for being a side NPC is a surprisingly really good storyline. Yeah, I think that they tried to make the Pathfinder NPCs in both this game and Kingmaker, like they wanted to give them real storylines. Also, scimitar is a strength-based weapon, right? Normally, so you'd be like subpar with it for a long time. And fence, and both of those also still are like feat trees, right? Like you'd have to invest stuff into it that was taking away from your normal. Oh, that was taking away from your normal stuff. Ironically, for this discussion, you're playing a 3rd edition Rogue in the Neverwinter Nights module. On some levels, she does better because Rogue is what the module is designed for. Okay, if you're playing 3rd edition, if you're playing like base Neverwinter Nights, what you want to do, if you haven't done this already, is take 1 level of Ranger as a Rogue. 3rd edition Ranger, all they got was a combat bump over what like a normal Rogue level would give you. Still, you'd get slightly fewer skills, but I think guaranteed +1 base attack bonus and a better hit die. And most importantly, you get the ambidextrous ability, which severely reduces your 2-hand penalties. And rogues don't have like a 20th level capstone ability. So being 19 levels of rogue and 1 level of ranger is like always going to be better. Not often you laugh at Disney, but DuckTales is an absolute vibe. Yeah, I could have been Turbo! Slashing Grace, actually, you could have a one-handed slashing weapon as a piercing weapon. It could only be wielded one-handed and not dual-wielded either. Yeah, that's the thing. Like a lot of the skill feats, or not skill feats, a lot of the feat trees force you into these certain playstyles, and Unchained Rogue lets you. It's a progression, so you have to stick with it if you want more weapons of its type over time. But it gives you weapon finesse and dex added to like one of a number of different things that you choose at character creation or at choosing the rogue level. And you don't have to invest other feats into it was the main thing. Like there were plenty of options, and they were great if you were a fighter that had a million feats, that like that was just the thing you wanted to do, was get better at your chosen fighting style plus have some additional support for your like backup option. But if you were a rogue, like feats were way more in demand to do other stuff with. And so Unchained was, although I think fighters also got an Unchained update because they were also considered to be not strong enough. So basically what I'm saying is Pathfinder 1st edition was really good at the time. It was building off of a deeply flawed system, and so it had certain things kind of baked into it. If you're going to play a Pathfinder, either play the video games, because they handle a lot of the numbers for you, and lower difficulties, you can absolutely have crazy builds and have it not be a problem. Or play Pathfinder 2nd edition with your friends. Ciao. Anyway, the leaders of the cult abducted Hylar's daughter, Lori, who served under his command in the Pathfinder Society. They left me a note full of tart insults, mockery, and sneers. From that note, I learned the name of my enemy, the Spinner of Nightmares. A few months later, I confirmed that she was the leader of the Labyrinth of Mind. My hunt had begun. I would get Lori back at any cost. Hylar grits his teeth with bulldog determination. I think we can help him with this quest, though I'm not sure. Or play Pathfinder 2e with your rivals and then romance them. True. Probably should have done that earlier. At this point, you already took the dual wielding feats the normal way. Oh no, it's not feats. It's literally a class feature. I think it just makes dual wielding easier. Next time you have a level up, look at Ranger first level and see if it will help you. I'm telling you now. I used to play rogues in Neverwinter Nights 1 all the time. That was like the first. It's Rogue 1, Ranger 1, Rogue 18, if you're not taking any other crazy stuff. I believe it stacks with the feat. Yeah. Here. Yeah. Class. So rogues get. Whatever, none of this matters. They get a bunch of proficiencies. They get weapon finesse automatically. They get trap finding. They get sneak attack. There we go. Finesse. So they get. It's at level 3. My bad. So it does take a little bit. You can't just take one level of it. But at least in this, they can choose. At third level, they can select any one type of weapon that can be used with weapon finesse. Once the choice is made, it cannot be changed. Whenever they make a successful melee attack with the selected weapon, they add their dex mod instead of strength mod to the damage roll. They choose an additional weapon at 11th and 19th levels. But there's a bunch of different things that they can choose with this, you see? And it allows them to be decent combatants as long as they stick to that one weapon. Oh yeah, Garden. So Claudia, and we're talking about two separate things here. Neverwinter Nights 1 is based on 3rd edition D&D, not even 3.5. So it's 3rd edition D&D, which had some wonkiness. So yes, you should still take the feats to improve your abilities, but Rangers in 3rd edition D&D, they got one ability at first level, which was ambidexterity, and then otherwise they had skill points and a decent skill list and full base attack bonus and I think decent saves and a D10 hit die. So their one thing that they got was ambidexterity, and it further reduced the penalties for dual wielding. This was later changed in 3.5 to like a bunch of stuff, the stuff that they already got. Did take a level of Shadow Dancer to get Hide in Plain Sight, which seems fun and particularly useful since you're often by yourself in the module. Oh yeah, I imagine Shadow Dancer would be very helpful for that. Is it Knife? That's right. Knife Master gets specifically finesse training with knives early, I think? Or no? Sneak Stab gives you improved sneak attacks? Yes, when you make a sneak attack with Dagger, Kukri, Punching Dagger, Star Knife, or Sai, which is a lot of good options in this game, they use D8s to roll sneak attack damage instead of D6s. And then Blade Sense. Let's see, where is it? Finesse training. They still only get finesse training 3 times. I could have sworn that one of them was like more often finesse training. Have a good night, Boo. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Rowdy does not get Weapon Finesse and instead gets Vital Strike and is the like only strength-based rogue, if I understand it correctly. Thug trades Danger Sense for Frightening, I believe. Like Frightening and Brutal Beating. That's their main thing. Like they lose like trap related stuff, but otherwise are a normal rogue. But yeah, Claudia, were you the one that was talking about Kingmaker? Okay, so we're about to recruit the Eldritch Scoundrel in this. Eldritch Scoundrel is the rogue archetype that makes you basically an arcane trickster from day one. So they lose armor proficiency. But they gain some basic spell casting. They also lose a number of their talents and uncanny dodge, but again, they are basically like they lose like half of their normal rogue stuff, but in return they gain spellcasting, and they can scribe scrolls, at least in this game, and they can sneak attack with spells, which includes cantrips, which is huge. So we are about to... Yes, good. We have not lost our money. We're about to recruit Woljif. He is our... baked-in Eldritch Scoundrel.
Well, Chief, what do you got for me?
I talked to Irabeth and I decided to make you part of my troop. We'll see how it goes.
You must be a smooth talker. Come on, Delvin. Get
I also love Woljif.
I'm going free.
Since last FF8 stream, you started a new game yourself and you're almost on disc 4. Oh, Jesus. Swag. What the hell? What? You're so fast compared to me. What the hell? There was also an Arcane Trickster multi-class thing that was a good part of Octavia's build too. Yeah, so Arcane Trickster is a prestige class, which Arcane Scoundrel, like, I think easily qualifies for, because it's getting all of the stuff, like, simultaneously.
You're sure to regret this. This tiefling will fleece you for everything you've got. Mark my words.
You're a bitter little man, Delvin. Petty and mean. You can't even be happy for me, can you? I pity you. I'll leave you alone with your sad little soul. So long. And now, Chief, straight down to business. You see, I'm one of those guys that people around here call thieflings. We just call ourselves the family. After we knocked over that shop and I got stuck here in the
Oh, gotcha.
A little bird told me that big sister Karis may want to see me. That she had some questions to ask me. You following? Now, she won't be asking me questions like, Woljif, how'd you manage to get out of this one? Or, Woljif, you're so thin, didn't they feed you? No, something serious has gone down, and I just know they want to try to pin something on me.
What?
I can feel it in my tail. So, I knew right away that I couldn't go alone. You turned up just in time, Chief. You don't need to do anything when we get there. Just stand behind me and look mean, and I'll handle the rest. Somehow. Let's go, I'll show you the way.
I know that this voice actor has been somewhere. I just cannot remember. You're also playing significantly less Triple Triad. All right, fair. You weren't abiding by a streaming schedule, just binge playing on your nights off since you need to stay at home and save money. That makes sense. I also have been frequently distracted by Pathfinder now, so. Also, lovely wife is still awake, despite her best efforts. So.
Garden on Lotus that you were still streaming.
For real? Oh my god.
They posted in the Discord. They were like, "We're sorry, we fell asleep," and I was like, "Hey, Artemis is still streaming. If you want to stop in and say hi." Hi, Claudia.
Yeah, so Woljif, he has, so as we can see, he gets his dexterity bonus to the damage, which is a big deal. And he starts with ridiculously high dex and intelligence and not negative constitution. So he has absurd points.
I like this tiefling.
Oh yeah, you'd love Woljif. He is very snarky.
I love snarky characters. Shocking nobody. Also, hi, Garden! And I don't know if Claudia heard me, but hi, Claudia!
Yeah, Claudia says hi.
No, Claudia said hi, and I said hi in response, so I'm making sure that Claudia heard me say hi in response.
See. All right, so we're gonna have him just learn a bunch of spells because I like using him especially since we are a witch. We really don't need Nenio. Because basically everything Nenio could do between me and Woljif and oh my god, why am I blanking on her name? Camellia. Between the three of us, we basically have like all of her bases covered, plus other stuff. So indeed, you did good. Am I having a session now? No, I'm not. I'm not having a tabletop game. We are playing the Wrath of the Righteous. But welcome. Thanks for stopping by. Is it at Salupium? Etsy Lupium? Gotcha. But yeah, welcome. Are you a Pathfinder player? Or Latin for the undead wolf? Hell yeah, that's rad as hell. Alright. Basic dagger we don't care about. You did indeed catch a cat. You're a World of Darkness GM? Gotcha. I don't play nearly as much World of Darkness anymore. I played a lot of it back in college. But thank you for stopping by the stream. I do appreciate it. Since you're new here, I'm Artemis. I play a lot of RPGs. Right now it is mostly alternating between Final Fantasy VIII and Wrath of the Righteous here. So we're very slowly moving through both because I like to chat with people and you know all that a lot. But here, we will take that off. Squall is your dude? Hell yeah. There you go. Lots of magic missiles. Okay, so Lashara would make a pretty run-of-the-mill witch, I believe. Honestly, we are sort of Lashara right now. I'm playing an elf, like a base elf, with the what's the class called again? I am a keen-eyed adventurer, which the main thing that you get from it is improved cantrips. So cantrips deal increase their damage over time. You have that already in base Pathfinder.
Oh.
And then they get like a elemental vortex later on, but like otherwise it's like basic, you know, witch stuff. And then I think we chose the Elements patron just to be more blasty. But we could definitely recreate Lashara. It would be pretty easy. It'd be pretty funny to make the party in this game. You'd need to make Gegard a Kitsune though, which is very silly. We almost got Ratfolk in WotR. Yeah, he'd have to be a Kitsune or like a halfling. No, Ratfolk are not a playable ancestry in this game. And tieflings are their own thing. They are not like a template applied to other stuff. So Viduriel would have to be either a tiefling or an elf. She could not be both. Oh, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Okay, I believe that we have talked to everybody that we can talk to here. Oh wait, no. Woljif now is properly conversable. Alright, I want to know more about you. Oh god, there's so many options. I did choose this. How much is more? Are your family tieflings too? My family, it's an interesting story actually, but I don't tell it to just anyone. My father and mother had a bakery. Their life was great, but the gods never blessed them with any children. One day my mother went to the river to wash some clothes and saw a basket floating downstream. Inside the basket was a baby, adorable and chubby and fast asleep. It was yours truly. In my hand was a note spritzed with expensive perfume that said, "Take care of my little angel." My mother brought me home, and she and my father realized right away that I was heaven sent. They raised me as their own. When I turned 15, my mother showed me my baby blanket. It was embroidered with a coat of arms of an unknown kingdom, all in gold thread. Ever since then, I've been looking for my real parents. But it's not easy. Traveling takes money. So if you have a few gold coins, I'd pay you back as soon as I find my real family. I give you my word. That doesn't sound very believable. Seriously? Usually everyone just believes everything I say. People love stories like that. You know, a cute baby, a basket, a blanket. What's not to love? They look at me differently, as if I'm worth more than just because the sheets I spit up on might have had a fancy coat of arms on them. He laughs bitterly. If I really was a prince, I wouldn't be sitting around here, I can tell you that much. I'd have already gone to take what was rightfully mine, and then I'd come back with an army so I could watch the guards and merchants who pushed me around all my life bow and scrape before me. But that's not going to happen. Want to hear the real story? The true story is boring. My family is human, both my father and mother. They used to live in a village nearby. I forget the name. When my ma had me, my old man got so mad he almost killed her. Pinned her to the wall and started asking questions, like why his son had horns and a tail. Well, my ma told him that her mother, my grandma, used to fool around with a demon. When he heard this, Daddy Dearest got drunk, trashed the house, and then took off. I don't remember any of this, of course. My grandma told me. I was about 3 years old when my mother brought me to Kenabres and left me with my grandma. She said to her, "You and your demon have ruined my life. Now you handle him." Then she left. I haven't seen her or my dad since. She did leave a blanket, though. That part was true. But my grandma burned it because it was infested with lice. It wasn't even good enough to use as a rag. You think after all that, my grandmother saw the light, felt rightfully ashamed, and kissed my horns? I wish. He grins nastily, his yellow eyes flashing. People used to give her trouble for fooling around with a demon. She wasn't welcome anywhere, so she got angry. Normal kids get bedtime stories, see. But the only tales I got told were how my dad was worthless, my ma was a slut, and I was demon spawn that no one cared about. She only kept me so I could help around the house and steal things she needed. So that's the truth. How'd you become a tiefling? I already was a tiefling, and life made me a thief. I've been in this business since I was a kid. My grandma used to say, if you don't work, you don't eat. She gave me as an apprentice to Eager, a tiefling neighbor of ours. He was a cunning old geezer. He knew how to take a purse off somebody's belt, how to cut open bags undetected, even do some magic. I used to climb through basement windows and open doors from the inside while I was still small enough. And when I grew and stopped fitting through the windows, I decided I was done with my education. Repaid my grandma for everything she'd done for me, which was absolutely nothing. Why would I feed her if she wasn't bringing me any money? If you don't work, you don't eat. So I took off. got bored of my teacher too, but when I was as much as hinted at leaving, he said I owed him for my education. So I just nodded, and then I joined the Owlbears, the gang that rang our district, and told them that Eager was working their territory. I don't know what happened to him, but I stayed with the Owlbears. Then their leader started giving me the cold shoulder. I did steal from him, but never that much, so I had to rat them out to the guards. Then I joined the Golden Hands. That was a good time. Rich pickings. I would have stayed with the Golden Hands, but the Northmen promised me a bigger cut if I told them where the Golden Hands kept their loot. I'm no fool, of course, so I told them. After that, I only had one option. Join the Northmen. Then the family came. At first, no one took them seriously, calling them thieflings and all that. But I felt it right away. They had power behind them, and they had more money. I'm always on the winner's side, Chief. That's why I joined the thieflings. And right on time. Some thugs came from the capital and made the Northmen leave. The ones who survived are in the family now, too. Tell me the real story of your family. Nope, we already got that. Tell me about the tieflings. Alright, I won't tell you everything, mind, but I can tell you a little. The tieflings are Mendevian thieves. The gang was started in Mendev's capital by someone or other, and soon after they'd spread all over Galarian. They're also called the family. You know why? Because us tieflings are easy to spot. Wherever we go, guards always hassle us, asking, "Are you lost or some at Hornhead?" We usually say we're visiting family, and if they say, "Oh yeah? Who?" you give him the name of a local thiefling who confirms everything, even if he's never seen you before in his life. That's why we're all brothers and sisters. Yeah, local. Woljif is the best. I mean, he's the worst, but he's the best. There are rules. Who does what, who gets what cut. I won't say it's a lot, but they make it worth your while. They'll even heal you if you take an arrow. The biggest no-no is this. You don't steal from the family. If you don't contribute to the shared pot, you'll get the cold shoulder. You won't be treated like family no more. And then everyone will hear that you went to visit some relatives who have a farm someplace. My best guess? The farm is in some underground well beneath Kenabres where they breed grave worms. If Sister Charisme, our boss, looked the other way more often, I'd really be able to spread my wings. Do you love how his path can go too? Fun options? Yeah. We are going to, I think, try to influence him towards not being the worst. So, stealing from someone you call a sister, that's low. Birds fly low before a storm. I'm just surviving as best I can. Woljif fixes us with a look. Imagine the situation, Chief. You're 7 years old, you come home, and your old grandma, your family, is lying there drunk, and there's no food because she got wasted in the morning and didn't cook anything. And you know that she has a stash under the 3rd floorboard. Take this money so you don't starve to death. And then, when she wakes up, she beats you because you shouldn't have taken it. You shouldn't have stolen some food. You're a waste of space. There's something you can never understand, Chief. You only care about moral choices. You always know what's right and wrong. Brother, sister, grandma, mother. In real life, they're just words. What do you think of Kenabres? It used to be such a hole. Then the Crusaders and refugees came here and things started looking up. Although it depends who you ask, I suppose. Witches better steer clear of here, because Iomede's followers are ferocious. Especially Hulrun Shapik, the local inquisitor. He's a tough old goat. I didn't see it myself, but a serving girl at a tavern told me that her second cousin's son from his 3rd wife is a paladin. And he said that Hulrun takes an unsheathed sword with him, even to the privy, and when he sleeps, he puts it on the pillow next to him. And when he's in his cups, he strokes the blade and whispers sweetly to it, "You are my one true friend. You are the only one I can rely on." Erebeth's given us a hard time too. You as much as look at some nice little bauble, and before you can think of taking it, before your fingers even twitch, she's coming for you, with her nostrils flaring and her fangs glinting. Scary woman. But she's better than Sister Charisme, our boss here in Kenabres. By our, I mean the Thiefling's boss. If you get caught by Erebeth, it's all out in the open. You go to prison or you end up with worm food. But if you step on Charisme's toes, poof, you're gone. Just like that. No one ever sees you again. All you'll hear is, he went to the family farm, even though he's never had a family or a farm. Got demon blood in you. Do you feel drawn to the abyss? His tail whips back and forth nervously, raising clouds of dust. Why, are you Inquisitor or something? Well, what's it to you? If I've wronged you somehow, just come out and say it. Don't ask me trick questions. I know how it happens. I used to know a fella. He was married to the sister of a guard. Some shady types got him drunk one night, started asking him suspicious questions about the gods, about the queen. So he wakes up hungover with a headache. Someone's mumbling something. Smells like smoke, and his feet are kind of hot. He looks down, there's a fire under him, and the prelate is reading out his sentence. Your shadow looks strange. What kind of magic is that? Ladies and gentlemen, roll up, roll up. No dark magic, no fraud. A trick without any deception. Wool just snaps his fingers and blue flame engulfs him. The shadow that was previously lying calmly at his feet grows, floating in the air behind him. It is the shadow of a huge, horned, winged demon with claws. Ta-da! It doesn't do anything, it just looks scary. I remember when I was little, an old beggar showed me and my friends how to make shadow puppets. Put your fingers together in front of a light, it makes a shadow of a deer or a dog or a dove on the wall. I tried so hard, I wanted to make the best shadow. And I did. It just happened. Woljeff chuckles sadly. Funnily enough, that's the last time I had any real friends. They tried to stone me later, screaming at me, calling me a demon. A tiefling is always a demon to these wimps. Even the lowest-ranking drunken gnome thinks he's better than me, just because he hasn't got horns or a tail. Poorest beggar in the filthiest gutter thinks he's better than me. Most people would never show their shadow again after that first time. But I don't care. If stones start flying again, I'll just run. I'm used to it by now. Woljeff is such a little theater kid. You should be in the club or whatever the meme is. I have no idea what you're talking about, I gotta be honest. It's a harmless illusion, but you shouldn't show it to anyone. People hate what they don't understand. Blue fire disappears and the shadow becomes normal again. Ah, you're one of those people who are always scared of what might happen. You're not wrong, though. You better not talk to me in public at all, or you'll get tarred with the same brush. I used to have a so-called friend, a human. Well, he hummed and hawed and then told me to steer clear of him. His neighbors didn't like me. Then I sent the Owlbears gang to his house. You know, just one last visit to pick something up. I'd taken a shine to this nice pair of calfskin pants he had. Good like him wouldn't have need of them anyway. Found me later and gave me a hiding for my troubles, but that's another story. Alright. I have to talk later. Okay, so it is after midnight. We have been going for quite a while.
Precisely.
Good job.
Always watch your back.
Okay. We're going to, I think, explore the rest of the outside here. It is pretty brief. We're going to talk to a couple people, and then I think we're going to call stream at the end of that. This is our vanity mechanic. Are you two mad? Whatever possessed you to steal the gem golem from the Tower of Estrad Museum? Explain yourselves. We didn't steal nothing, Commander. We saw some looters dragging it down the street and recaptured it. Now this fellow's ours by rights. That shiny fella belongs to the treasury. Inley alone is worth more than a castle. Jorian, see to it that no one leaves so much as a finger on this golem or plucks out a single gem. Same goes for you two. So there's a handful. So the Prestidigitator Golem lets you make gear look like other gear, and also lets you recolor stuff. Do anything useful? I'm not reading through all this. What are you? How'd you end up here? What can you do to help the war? Give me an illusion on my gear. Yeah, so we could make like certain gear has certain like looks basically, and you can have it look like other stuff. That's really all it is. Glamour, that's the word. So Joran is that one dwarf's brother that we're going to talk to in a sec. But first we need to double check, make sure there's no boxes or anything. Yeah, see, that's what I thought.
That's easy.
Lots of random trash that we can pick up and then sell back for minor profit. Okay. Oh my goodness gracious. Excuse me for the cough. Alright, Jorian, what you got for me? A grizzled dwarf turns a blade in his calloused hands, carefully inspecting its edge. When he sees you approaching, he sets the blade aside and greets you with a nod. A new face in the city. You picked a good time to come to Kenabres. As you can see, we're in sore need of warriors. I'm going to show him our sick, nasty sword. Do you recognize this sword? Do I recognize it? Of course I do. I made this with my own hands. There's my brand, see? The dwarf carefully takes the sword in his hands, gazing at it like a doting father. Oh, Yaniel, things have been tough without you, but at least we've still got your sword. That's something. Jordan returns the sword to you. In battle, ordinary swords get blunted, they break. But sometimes a weapon can preserve. I don't even know how to explain it. I'm no authority on these things. But something like an echo of the deeds done with that weapon. Or more like the reflection of the wielder's soul? I don't know. I will say one thing. Take care of that sword. Yaniel may no longer be with us, but the demons will still remember why they need to turn tail and run when they see radiance. Ah, the scabbard's all worn. Can't be having a fine sword like this being carried around in that tatty thing. I'll make you a new one if you like. If the city stands strong and we both survive, come see me again and I'll have it ready. No charge. Alright, do you know everyone in Kenabres by sight? Well, not everyone, but I make it my business to know the people who might need my services. A blacksmith's work isn't just at the anvil, you know. Are you Staunton Vane's brother? Yep. Where he goes, I go. That's how we've always done it, even before the world wound. I forge the armor, he goes into battle and breaks it. He brings it back to me, and I repair it and make it better than before. Everything's changed since then, of course, but that part has stayed the same. How was Staunton to blame for the fall of Dresden? I've told this story so many times already. Well, telling it one more time won't kill me, the blacksmith sighs. Dresden was built after the First Crusade, back when it seemed like victory was ours for the taking and that the demon invasion would soon be at an end. The population of Old Sarkoris was thoroughly diminished, and many of them hoped to see their hard fighting repaid with a small plot of unclaimed land. Dresden was a fortress built on all our hopes, and on Mendev's ambitions, though you're not supposed to say that out loud. What a city it was. You can't even imagine. It was built by the finest engineers from the Five Kings Mountains. Queen Galfrey spared no expense. Dresden was meant to be the capital of the Crusade movement, a monument to its glory and a beacon of hope for all Galarian. Heroes were drawn there to seek fame and glory, and they came from all over. Taldor, Garand, Tianxia, I couldn't list them all. A relic known as the Sword of Valor was kept there, the banner that had been carried into battle by Iomade herself back when she was still human. That banner protected the city and kept the demons from teleporting inside its walls. As long as the banner was in its place, Dresden was invincible, or so we thought. Sword of Valor was the greatest Crusader relic. It's a banner once carried, yep, blah, blah, blah. It is both a symbol and powerful artifact which emits an aura that blocks demon powers. However, the banner only works this way in righteous hands. Hidden from the eyes of believers, it loses its properties. Then the world wound suddenly expanded. The demons launched a new onslaught, and folks started saying it was time to prepare to declare the Second Crusade. Dresden was unassailable until one young officer was tempted by a beautiful woman. She convinced him that the banner shouldn't be hanging in the city, that its rightful place was on the battlefield. She whispered honey words about glory and valor, and convinced him that he could be a hero as great as Iomade herself. And the poor fool believed her. He rounded up some of his hot-headed friends and carried the banner outside the city gates on an unauthorized foray. The demons slaughtered them within seconds. But for some reason, the courageous ringleader was spared. A whole army teleported into Dresden. It was a bloodbath. Jordan solemnly shakes his head. As you can guess, that officer was called Staunton Vane, and the woman turned out to be a demon. Not just any demon. It was Minago, that foul wretch. She's given us a lot of grief here in Kenabres, too. Just don't ask me what I was doing when my brother was off having trysts with that beast, and why I didn't save him from his own stupidity. The blacksmith gestures as if to ward off the inevitable reprobation. Who could have guessed it would end like this? I failed my brother, that's the truth. I blame myself every day looking at his plate. So that's the story. Why do you have your forge here in the tavern yard? Wherever I am, that's where my forge is. True master of any craft will always find the tools they need. I miss my old forge, of course. Now just a pile of charred stone and metal. But I've still got my hands, and that means I can work. Show me your wares. Oh, excuse me. All right. Good. All right, we're gonna sell that. He has the rugged helmet, which gives damage reduction 3, but you take a -3 to perception, which is not ideal. Gotta be honest. Quiver of cold iron ammunition. 200 gold for that. That's rough. I think we're gonna hold off on that. You can only hear Minago and Staunton's voice. He's such a good VA. Right? Right? Minago. Alright, so where the other people were our like special items place, this is our magic arms and armor guy. He sells a bunch of masterwork stuff and cold iron masterwork stuff. And then basic versions of gear if for whatever reason you need that. Not really worth it to pick up any of his stuff early on. Like you pretty quickly find better stuff. But he's got a couple of +1 like rare items that might be difficult. Like if you are playing as a character build that uses a rare weapon, these guys are generally good. But otherwise, most of the time you just want to be finding stuff, or they will have like these named things like Silver Hawk, right? +1 light crossbow, and also deals additional damage in an AoE when it crits. Like stuff like that you want to buy from him. But like attrition dagger is pretty good on Woljif. Or if you have specifically a melee like a melee dagger user, attrition dagger is great. Because it deals constitution ability damage, and is therefore lowering enemy HP beyond just damage. But I don't think that we have anything that we really want to purchase off of him right now. Living Ram is pretty good if you can get charges off quickly, but the problem is that charge is like very finicky, especially in real-time mode. So Deceiving Facade is a pretty good upgrade for Camellia, but again, it's like $6 grand. Like it's rough. It's rough to be purchasing this stuff. But we did the main thing. We got the we started the improve Radiance quest, which will slowly improve Radiance over time. Interesting name for an item that's good for Camellia. Yeah, well, it's good because she uses bucklers, and she is her like base form is going to be as somebody who is a like frontline kind of right behind Sela sort of deal. Where she's going to be typically flanking with Sela She doesn't have the same constitution that Sela does. In terms of like her class, I believe gives lower. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, base value is 22 versus 18. Yeah, so she's got a lower hit die than Sela does. So just something about also giving her an item called Deceiving Facade. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I guess spoilers for her personal quest, but Camelia's whole shtick is that she's like a serial killer. She's like killing people and sacrificing them to like her dark animal spirit or whatever. Let's see. We're gonna talk to Vasali. We're gonna see if we can afford that ring that we saw. Icy Protector. No, we're short by like $2,000. How the hell are we gonna afford this, man? I want this so bad. It's such a good improvement for her. We're gonna encounter a bunch of similar like basic improvements. Daredevil boots are cool, but they're not for this character. The other thing we could do is delay that, talk to Gemmel, and get the gloves of the neophyte. Get that for ourselves and improve ourselves. I think we're gonna do that. She's done nothing wrong. She's flawless. That's right. She's done one thing wrong, which is be straight. We are going to get a decent amount of money pretty quickly in this game, so we are just going to purchase the gloves of the neophyte and equip them ourselves because honestly, we can even sell the Master Orcite crossbow. We should always be using spells. But yeah, Acid Splash, Ignition, Ray of Frost, and Jolt all deal additional. Deal damage and require a touch attack to other increased by an additional damage die of the same type as opponent for every 2 witch levels that we possess. So they already deal 2 dice worth of damage, and this now adds +1 for each die. So like this would deal 2d3 plus 2. This deals 2d3 plus 2. Yeah, like all of them are dealing like honestly not bad damage for mods say otherwise. True, I could mod it, but we are not going to be attempting to romance her. We are going to be attempting to romance Richelieu. So, but here we have our quests. Right, we are not going to show complete quests. That's absurd. So we need to fix the thing in the market square. We need to find. We will encounter this over time. But we need to talk to Woljif's. We need to do Woljif's quest. Otherwise, like companion quests, basically more than anything else, are going to be super important. Romancing Wendu instead? No, we're not romancing Wendu. We have Lan in the party. We can't romance Wendu. Shockwave pulsar time? Holy shit. I don't even know what that is. That sounds rad as hell. But yeah, so we have a number of quests that we will do next time. I do apologize that this was mostly a chatting and like, you know, not questing stream, but we had our set piece dungeon. We have acquired our quests, so. Quistis is ultimate blue match. Gotcha. All right, right. How do you get Shockwave Pulsar again? I know that you can get it like pretty early on if you jump through some hoops. Do you generally believe that companion quests are the most important ones? Yeah, they're pretty important. But anyway, we are going to save the game here before I forget. Okay. Tool refine 100 curse spikes into a dark matter. That's right. That's right. And you can get curse spikes from, I think, fighting those enemies or also card modding them. But dark matter itself turns into 100 ultimas. Wild. Anyway, everybody, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will probably be back tomorrow. We'll see how I'm feeling and see what my social calendar holds for me. But if I'm back tomorrow, then I will definitely be playing FF8. If I'm not tomorrow, then definitely Thursday, where we will still play FF8, assuming I'm not in a comfort game mood. So everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me for the last 3.5 hours. I really do appreciate it. If you're watching this as a VOD, thank you for letting me keep you company for that time. I hope that it was good background content. Everybody, have a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, nighttime, whatever time of day it happens to be for you as you are watching this. Lovely wife is also saying goodbye and good night. But yeah, until our paths cross again in this big wide universe of ours, in my particular corner of this particular little galaxy, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and remember to always keep on shining bright starlights. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care, and bye-bye!